homemaker Sandy Cleary and her son, 5-year-old Nicholas, are suing their neighbor, accounts receivable clerk Cynthia Gray. Sandy claims Cynthia's dog bit Nicholas in the face.
Miss Cleary, this is your little boy?
Yes.
What's your name?
Nicholas.
Nicholas, why don't you come up here? You're going to sit right up here next to me.
There you go.
Nicholas, how old are you?
5.
You know who I am?
It's Judy.
Right. Do you ever watch me on television? You know what it is to be in court? Is this court where you are now? Okay. You know you have to tell the truth when you're in court, right? Show me where you were bitten, Nicholas.
On my nose.
On your nose? Looks okay to me. Is it all better now? It's all better? Good.
Miss Cleary, you and the defendant are neighbors, and according to your complaint, one of her dogs bit your son.
Correct.
You want her to pay you $5,000 for whatever. Pain, suffering, a whole bunch of other things. How far away do you live from Mrs. Gray?
We have an apartment complex that we live in, and there's a home dividing Cindy's home to our apartment complex.
She lives in a private house.
Correct.
With a yard.
Correct.
With a fenced yard.
Yes.
How high is the fence?
It's probably about Nicholas's height, maybe a little bit taller.
And what kind of dogs does she have?
She has a medium-sized dog, mixed breed, and a little Chihuahua-sized dog.
Okay, and her dogs are behind the fence.
Correct.
Always behind the fence, unless she's walking them.
Well, not so correct on that one. Sometimes the dogs are free to either get out with the children also in the neighborhood to go in.
No, the children don't go in, I assume, unless their parents are with them.
Well, Cindy has also a young son, and my children, as well as other neighborhood children, have been able to go into the backyard to see if he's there to play.
Okay.
Versus the front door, actually.
No, but you wouldn't allow your 5-year-old to go there.
No.
Of course not. So, on what date was Nicholas bitten?
September 10th.
And where were you?
I was in the front yard of our apartment complex.
And who was with Nicholas?
His little friend, Lily.
How old is Lily?
She's the same age.
So you have 2 5-year-olds. And you were watching them?
Yes.
Well, tell me what happened.
Well, what happened was Nicholas and Lily both had asked if they could go see Nina and Riley.
Nina and Riley are the 2 dogs?
The 2 dogs, correct.
Yes.
And I said that would be okay, but it didn't look as if anybody was home, and to please not go into the fence, as children always do. And he said okay, and the last I knew, he went to go and see the dogs, and then he started screaming.
Just a minute. When he and Lily, also age 5, went over to the defendant's home, could you see your son?
No, Your Honor, I could not.
Why not?
Because, I mean, it's very close quarters. Her driveway goes back a little further than where ours does.
Yes.
It happened very quickly. My older son had also gone over there with them.
Where's your older son?
He's not here today. He didn't see what happened as well.
Then I don't need him here. So what you're saying is your son went into her yard.
Yes. The gate has never been a real well-shutting gate.
That's not the issue, whether it's shut well or not. Ms. Cleary, you are the parent.
Correct.
You have a responsibility. You have a 5-year-old child. Your 5-year-old child should not be out of your sight when playing out in the street. And if your 5-year-old child comes to you and says, I want to go and play with the 2 dogs, and you believe, as you said, that the defendant is not home or that nobody is home, you get off your duff and you get up and you say, you want to go and see the dogs, I will go with you. Madam, this is your fault. This is not the defendant's fault. She has 2 dogs. Her dogs are behind a fence, well protected. If your son hadn't gone into the yard, your son would not have gotten bitten. And you just told me that the fence doesn't work too well, the gate doesn't work too well. Where are you? I mean, you're out talking to a friend? It's your job to watch him. And if you were negligent in taking care of your own son, don't blame anybody else.
Your Honor, I am not blaming anybody else. It happened so quickly. I instructed him that he could only pet the dogs over the fence, as he always does. The children and him, they always pet the dogs.
So where was he when it happened?
The gate had opened, he went inside.
Then you weren't close enough, Miss Cleary.
I disagree, Your Honor, but
Well, that's your prerogative to disagree. I'm telling you, it's your fault. It's not her fault. Your son went into her property, and you were outside, and it's your responsibility to take care of your child. It's not her responsibility to take care of your child. And you had the opportunity to do that by taking him by the hand with his friend Lily, walking him over to the fence, saying, I want to go and pet the dogs. Fine. Don't go into the yard, because you don't know what 2 5-year-olds do. 2 5-year-olds don't always have judgment. And this is a situation where you're looking to blame somebody else for your negligence, malfeasance, lack of proper parenting, and you're not going to do that here. Your case is dismissed. You were wonderful, Nicholas. Goodbye.
This is case number 110 on the calendar in the matter of Zalaric, Hire versus Southards. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Larrick, it is your claim that you sold a car to the defendant and he refuses to pay what he owes on the car. And the second part of your claim is that he had an altercation with your daughter and he made false charges of assault against her. You're Miss Hire?
Yes.
How old are you?
23.
And you want to be compensated for these false charges. Mr. Southards says that the car was a piece of junk and the charges were true. So, Mr. Southards, you bought this car?
I made a $25 payment on this car.
Let's start with the premise, sir,
Okay.
that I'm older than you are, and I know more.
Right.
So don't dance around with words.
Okay.
You bought a car,
Correct.
and after you bought the car, you made one payment.
Correct.
Now we're talking, Mr. Southards. When did you buy the car, sir?
12502 is when I put in my name.
Fine. And you gave her how much money?
Nothing.
What was the agreed purchase price?
$400.
And you knew Mrs. Alaric before you bought the car?
That's correct.
How long had you known her?
Approximately maybe 2 years.
Is this the first car you ever purchased?
No, ma'am.
How many cars have you purchased before?
I'd say about 3.
What were the terms of the payment that you were supposed to make to Mrs. Alaric?
I would give her $25 a month until I received my income tax.
And then you would pay her the balance?
Correct.
Good. You see how easy this is going to be?
Yeah.
You didn't expect it to be so easy, did you?
No.
Now, you said you made one $25 payment?
That's correct.
When did you make the $25 payment?
I'm not sure exact date.
When did he make the payment? You see, I knew you were going to get a turn.
He made that payment February 21st.
Now, when you got the title to the car, Mr. Southards, did you also take possession of the car?
Well, I had possession of the car beforehand.
You did?
Correct. Ms. Zalaric was not pressed for the money, as she had told me. She just wanted the car off her insurance and off the street.
Try not to volunteer any answers. It makes my job much easier. When did you take possession of the car?
In January.
Before you got the title?
Correct.
And you were doing some work on the car?
Correct.
Was the car running or not running when you purchased it?
It wasn't running.
So you had to do some work to put it in a running state?
Correct.
So it wasn't a surprise to you if the car could not be driven, that work had to be done on the car?
Correct.
Bird, this is like shooting fish in a barrel.
Take your time.
January 25th, then, not only did you have the car, but you had the title. You made a payment February 21st. Now, sir, I assume that you have received your income tax refund back. Is that right?
That's correct.
Why didn't you pay her the money?
Because the car was a lemon, and she had lied to me about nothing being majorly wrong with the car, when in fact it had a blown head gasket. And the muffler on the car, you could only get through the manufacturer, and that would cost $800.
How many weeks did you have this car, sir, before you got the title?
Maybe 3.
Well, in the 3 weeks' time that you had the car, sir, before you got the title, did you know it needed a muffler?
At that time, no, until I got out on the road to get inspected.
So you had the car, you were working on the car, you put it in a condition where it would run, go from here to here,
Correct.
but you couldn't tell it needed a muffler. What? Either way, it doesn't look good for you, sir. Either answer. So why don't you just tell me the truth? Let's make it easy for each other.
No, ma'am.
No what?
I didn't think it needed a muffler.
Well, if you didn't think it needed a muffler, and you're a guy who's bought 3 used cars and was fixing them up yourself, what makes you think this lady, who probably the only thing she knows about cars is putting a key in an ignition, turning it on, and maybe turning on a radio station, what would make you think she knew it was a lemon?
I talked to her husband.
Her. You bought it from her.
Okay. I spoke to her and her husband, which was familiar with the car. They had problems with it before.
They had problems. It wasn't running, sir. What do you mean they had problems with it before? It wasn't running. You couldn't take it from point A to point B when you took it off their hands. Did you have it towed?
No, I pushed it.
You pushed it.
We're neighbors.
That's not the usual way you get a car from point A to point B, by pushing it. That would lead a reasonably intelligent person or a very smart fool to the conclusion that there was something majorly wrong with the car.
There wasn't anything majorly wrong as far as starting it. And Mr. Zalarak, when they had parked the car, which had been sitting there for about a year on the street, had told me that when they parked it, it was running.
When you bought it for $400, and we're not talking $4,000 or $40,000, when you bought it for $400, it wasn't running. And what year car was this?
82.
So the car is 20 years old.
Right.
You've bought 3 used cars before. The car isn't running. You have to push it from one place to another in order to work on it. You had it for 3 weeks. You played with this, you played with that, you put money into it, whatever, you finally got it running. She gave you the tags, and you went to have it registered?
Correct.
In order to have it registered, did you have to have it inspected?
Yes.
Did it pass inspection?
No, it didn't.
Oh. Is that when you decided not to pay her any more money?
That's not correct. No.
Well, when did you decide not to pay her any more money?
When I found out all the problems, you know, that came out of this car wasn't worth putting the money into.
Now,
this
Mr. Southards, pay careful attention to me.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
The plaintiff says, take the car, work on it. Don't give me any money. See if you can get it going. Is that about right?
No, we had a contract.
Okay, I'm going to look at it. You take the car, you take it to a mechanic, and you say, look at this car, tell me whether it's worth it for me to buy it, right? A 20-year-old car. If you didn't do that, that's your fault. Let me see the contract. That's not her fault. Well, this says he's supposed to put down $100. He didn't. No. You gave it to him anyway.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They come in my house. I tell them to get off my property. I don't want you here. She ends up getting in my face and pushing me. They're tag team partners. They've done it before. This is Family Matters.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cassie Zalarik and her daughter, Adina Heyer, are suing their neighbor, Andrew Southards, for the unpaid balance on a car. Andrew says both ladies are obsessed with him.
Okay. So you owe him $375 for the car. That was the easy part. Now, let's get to the harder part. You claim that he filed false assault charges against you. I want you to tell me how that came about.
On February 25th, he came over to our house and got into an argument with my mother about the car because he didn't want to pay for it because it was a piece of shit, he said. There were some things that my mother wanted to talk to his girlfriend about, so she proceeded to go down to her house. He followed us up there. He went in before we did. He pushed my mother out the door and slammed the door on her. We asked Heather, his girlfriend, if we could come into her house, and she said yes. She wanted to know what was going on. Andy was very outraged that we had went down there.
What'd you go down there for?
She's been harassing my daughter, trying to date her and all, when he's supposed to be with this girl engaged to her.
What's that your business? What's that your business?
Him harassing my daughter?
No, him trying to date your daughter.
Well, he was also calling me, asking me if I thought my daughter would date him, and...
That's fine. The reason you went to his girlfriend's house is to make trouble, right? Right?
Right.
Because his girlfriend isn't a police officer. If he's harassing your daughter, what you do is you call the police. If you want to be a troublemaker, you go to his girlfriend's house. All right, but now you're there. You're at the girlfriend's house. Girlfriend invites you in, he slammed the door. Let me hear about these charges that he made against you.
He was screaming and hollering at me and calling me an easy, a skank. He was just very outraged. And the whole problem was because the week before, he was continuously calling me on my cell phone, calling my house, asking me to go out, and I told him no.
Why did you go to his girlfriend's house?
Because my mother went down there and I wanted to make sure that everything was okay.
Your Honor.
I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
Now, is this where the alleged assault took place, at the girlfriend's house?
Yes.
Now you can tell me what the assault was, sir.
Okay. this is all out of revenge because I didn't want to mess with their daughter. They're both, I mean, they like me.
Get to your girlfriend's house.
Anyway,
I don't know why, sir. Get
this
to
is
the
also my house.
girlfriend's.
This is also my house.
Oh, your house, your girlfriend's
right. This
house.
is where I live. Okay.
Good.
They follow me down to my house. They come in my house. I tell them to get off my property. I don't want you here. They're tag team partners. I mean, they've done it before. This is a family matters. Anyway, they come in my house without asking anybody to come in. My girlfriend says, okay, they're here already. They're raising a ruckus. Neighbors are out in the yard. They're cussing, swearing. Yeah, I did call her those names, but if the shoe fits, wear it. I mean, hey, that's how I look at it. But as we get in the house, you know, that's my house. I had to say what I had to say. I told them to leave. You know, my girlfriend said, well, I'll hear the story, then y'all need to leave. They carried it on still. She ends up getting in my face and pushing me over a playpen, which my 1-year-old daughter at the time is in. Okay, this is when I decided to call the police.
So she pushed you.
Correct.
What hospital were you taken to when she pushed you?
I wasn't taken to a hospital. The fact is, I almost...
What doctor did you see as a result of your injuries?
No doctor.
What medical treatment did you receive from EMS when they arrived at the scene?
Nothing. As far as assault...
May I see the photographs of your injuries?
No photographs.
What are you laughing at, you idiot? What are you laughing at?
The point that there doesn't have to be marks to be assaulted.
Yes, there does, sir.
Okay.
Yes, there does.
Then how?
Because an attempted assault means that you intend to cause injury. Why don't you be quiet?
Okay.
And pay attention.
Okay.
An assault means that you cause injury. If you touch somebody by way of a battery and you do not cause any injury, that is an attempted assault. So you had no injuries, is that right?
No.
And after you got pushed into the playpen, they left?
No.
They stayed and continued to argue?
Correct. After I asked them to leave continuously.
All right, now let's
I have statements that have been notarized from a girl.
I don't read statements notarized, sworn to, in blood.
Well, they couldn't be here to testify, so.
Why, are they in the military?
No. I mean, I have a child.
Just answer my question. Okay. Are you married to your girlfriend?
Not at this time. Planning.
And this is a house or an apartment?
An house.
Who lives in the house?
My girlfriend, we have 2 daughters and myself.
2 daughters?
Correct.
How old are the 2 children?
One's 4 and one's a year and 4 months.
Now, is there a lease in the house?
A lease? Yes.
Lease for the house?
Correct.
Whose name is the lease?
It's in her name.
Right. Who pays the rent on the house?
Both of us.
Does your girlfriend receive any state aid for the children? Or for herself?
No.
So she does not receive any public assistance or welfare for the children?
Not to my knowledge.
What?
Not
to your knowledge?
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
We can start back over.
I want to know if you've been living there for 2 years, sir.
Okay.
And you explain to me why, just out of curiosity, and I want you to understand.
Okay.
You're younger and better looking. I'm older and smarter.
Okay.
Explain to me why the house isn't in both your names. Is not an answer.
Okay. At the time, we were having a lot of disputes, and we didn't know if we were going to be together or not. So I was not trying to get stuck in a situation where I ended up paying on a house that I might not live in because of our relationship.
You still had children together. Who was supposed to pay for the children?
I take care of my children.
Oh, sure you do.
I do.
Oh,
That's my number 1 priority.
Number 1 priority.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cassie Zalaric and her daughter, Adina Heyer, are suing their neighbor, Andrew Southards, for the unpaid balance on a car. Andrew says both ladies are obsessed with him.
Okay, listen. What happened as a result of these baloney assault charges that he filed?
I missed several of my classes in school.
Big deal. You had no reason to go there.
You
had no reason to go there.
Yeah.
You had no reason to go to his house, whether it's his house or his girlfriend's house.
Yeah.
Whether they're playing hanky-panky with the government or not, who knows? You and your mother had no reason to go to the house, and when he told you to leave, you should have left. And whether you were charged with trespass or you're charged with an assault or an attempted assault, whatever, you weren't convicted of anything, so your claim for false arrest is dismissed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
But you're entitled to your car money back, $375. Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
All right, you're excused. You may step out.
I don't want nothing to do with them, and they're obsessed with me.
There is no way I would ever want to be with somebody like him.
Phone calls from the mother and the daughter, how they want to get out with me, and, you know.
That's outrageous.
One time I was taking a shower, and the mom called and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm taking a shower." She said, "Well, can I come over and help you?"
I just don't know where he's coming up with those.
And now 21-year-old customer service manager Ryan Sells is suing his co-worker, 18-year-old inventory clerk Kristen Ballou, for having him falsely arrested for a sexual assault. Kristen says Ryan fondled her at work.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 69 on the calendar in the matter of Sells versus Ballou. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Sells, it is your claim that the defendant filed false charges of sexual assault against you, and ultimately those charges were dismissed. I assume they were dismissed after a trial, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you want to be compensated?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me how you know the defendant.
The defendant is an employee that I work with. I am her supervisor.
And how long have you worked together?
I believe about a year.
Now, according to your complaint, something happened with the defendant's boyfriend that sort of precipitated all of this. You want to tell me about that?
Yes, ma'am. Beginning in February, Mr. Alphen, the defendant's boyfriend, began leaving threatening notes on my car. I reported them to the police. The first time they said it could be just a mistake, so they wanted to let it go. If it happened again, to come see them. So I did. It happened again in March. I got another threatening note. I had the police come down.
Do you have those notes?
I do have part of one. It was raining outside, so it got pretty destroyed. The other one is at the police station as evidence. So I'm to give this to the judge, please.
Tell me my job.
Okay. How many notes in total did the defendant's boyfriend leave on your car?
I received 2. After the second one, I went to the police again, and they came to my place of employment. We watched the surveillance tapes to discover that it was Mr. Alphen.
You didn't know who it was at the time?
Not until I saw the surveillance tapes.
Go ahead.
When they found out who it was, they asked me what I wanted to do about it, and I said I would like to file a complaint. I filed a complaint on the 23rd, and they said they were going to talk to him or have him arrested because he had admitted to it because they had talked to him previously. He was arrested, and then an hour after he was arrested, Miss Ballou went to the police and told them that I had sexually assaulted her between the dates of March 1st through March 4th. She couldn't remember when. However, on the citation when I was arrested, she narrowed it down to March 4th at 12:30 p.m.
Do you have those complaints?
Yes.
I'd like to see them, please.
Also, on the time that she claims it occurred, Miss Ballou claims it occurred at 12:30 p.m. March 4th. However, I have coinciding records that show Miss Ballou did not clock in for work until 12:57 that day. There would be no possible way in that 27 minutes I could do an override or a supervisor function for her if she had not even gotten a register yet or been at work.
So what happened when you were arrested, Mr. Sells? You were arrested, ultimately, I assume you had to hire a lawyer, you were given
Yes,
a lawyer?
I did.
You hired a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
What happened with the boyfriend's case?
We were both given the date of May 2nd. However, I moved it up to 4/18 because I felt I wanted to get it over with. The situation was bad enough. I didn't need to let it drag out. Mr. Alphen pleaded guilty to harassment and was given a year's probation, the same date that my trial was.
What happened at the end of the trial?
My lawyer kept pushing that we had surveillance tapes and videotapes that had to be shown if they wanted to prove, you know, for beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was not guilty. The judge didn't want to watch the tapes, so he appointed the prosecutor and my attorney to watch the tapes. They watched the tapes. A few days later, the judge ruled not guilty.
Did the prosecutor agree that that was...
Yes,
Did
yes,
he
he
dismiss
agreed.
the charges?
Yes, the judge, the prosecutor, and my lawyer were all together in it.
Okay. Now, I've read in your complaint, sir, that you had had a conversation with Miss Ballou, either you or your lawyer, prior to the date set for both her boyfriend and you to appear in court with regard to dropping the charges. Can you
Yes,
tell me
ma'am.
about that conversation?
We were in court getting ready for my trial, and Miss Ballou's attorney came to my attorney and spoke with us about if I would drop the charges against Mr. Alphen, then they would drop the charges against me.
And you declined to do that?
Yes, I did, due to my innocence.
Were you suspended from your job for any period of time?
Yes, I was, ma'am.
For how long?
33 days.
You are now back at work?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the defendant?
She wasn't suspended. She is still employed.
All right, Miss Ballou, now I'll hear you.
Well, when I made the complaint to the officer in the report, it was not the 4th. It was sometime the first week, the 1st or the 4th.
What date did you start to work at the company together with the plaintiff?
The beginning of August, I would say.
Of 2001?
Yes.
And Mr. Sells was your supervisor all that time?
Yes.
And was this gentleman your boyfriend all of that time? Yes. Now, I want you to stand up, sir. Your last name is?
Alfin.
Mr. Alfin, why were you leaving notes on the plaintiff's car?
Because my girlfriend, then my fiance now, is being sexually assaulted at work.
No, sexually assaulted is a conclusion. What did your girlfriend tell you that inspired you to leave these notes?
The plaintiff, Ryan, a person that's our personal space, and at work he would stand very close to Kristen, talk to her in a flirty manner, try to rub her shoulders, and she would tell him to stop, and he would just blow it off like she was joking. He would try to hug her all the time and put his hands toward her breasts, and yes, ma'am.
That you're making up?
No, ma'am.
That you're making up as you're going? Keep going.
And finally there was an incident at work where he got very close to her, rubbed himself on her.
No, that happened in March, sir. That happened after you wrote the notes on his car.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, after you left these notes on his car, which you, I assume, did not sign.
No, Your Honor.
What did you say in the notes, sir?
I called him a little.
You called him a little.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know.
Now, why would you call him a little? Please.
Because I was very angry.
A little is not something that you call a man. You may call a man but you don't call a man a little. Now, why did you call him a little, sir?
Because I was very angry at him for touching my fiance, ma'am.
You're not answering my question.
Well,
Officer Byrd understands my question. You call a woman a bitch. You don't call a man a little bitch. And you know that. So why would you call him a little bitch?
Because I was angry, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You fudged it a little bit with the, he rubbed up against me and he touched my back.
If Ryan would not have done anything to me, there would have been no more.
I don't believe he did anything to you, madam. I think you're full of baloney.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ryan Sells claims he was arrested when co-worker Christine Ballou made false allegations of sexual assault. Ryan says she was looking for revenge.
Now, Miss Ballou, is it just coincidental, madam, that you filed a formal complaint for the first time for incidents that had occurred months before, 1 hour after your boyfriend was arrested? Is that just coincidental? Is that what you want me to believe?
No, I have.
It was on purpose?
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me, what inspired you 1 hour after your boyfriend was arrested to file this complaint?
Well, I had talked to management about it before, and they didn't seem to do anything. So the officer didn't cuff him or anything. He just came to our place of work and told him that both of us needed to meet him at the police station. So we went down there, and I told him everything that Mr. Sells has done to me, and he asked me if I would like to make a complaint, and I said yes. But that day, when we were at work, when I turned him into management for like the 5th time after they didn't do anything, he came back up to work after he
Do you have any copies of the reports that you made to management prior to March of 2002?
They didn't have me write a statement, they just talked.
And you didn't write a statement?
They did not
No, you did not write a statement. You have the ability to write a statement.
I did write statements with one of my management.
Oh, let me see it.
I don't have them. They would not let us take anything out of...
Well, if you write a statement, an intelligent person keeps a copy. Go ahead.
Ryan came back up to work after he found out that I had turned him in, walked up to my register when I was checking people out, told me I was full in sexual harassment, all this was bull.
I believe that's true.
So...
I believe that's true.
I have...
Oh, I believe it. Let me see your proof.
That Ryan has done this to me and other women in that, other people I've seen.
You want them?
I don't want letters. I don't know who the people are. I don't know if they're your friends. I don't know. Certainly your letter is self-serving.
One of the women that are on here is sitting right over there that states...
You have a letter from a woman who is sitting over here?
I have a letter from a woman that saw Mr. Sells, the way he acts sexually towards this woman sitting over here.
Oh, well, let me see. Don't tell me her name.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I bring my witness over to speak with you?
Sure.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Lisa Volo.
Lisa, you're mentioned in this letter as someone who the plaintiff made sexual comments to. Never touching or anything else, but sexual comments to. Can you think of any of those comments?
No, he never has. And in fact, the Monday after Mr. Sells was arrested, I was called into the management's office. They wanted me to make a statement against Mr. Sells. Ms. Ballou said that I had witnessed the whole sexual assault. And at that time, I made a statement saying that I never witnessed anything and I never saw Mr. Sells.
How long have you been working at the same place as the plaintiff?
I've been working at this store for 9 months.
Have you ever seen Mr. Sells do anything of a sexual nature that was untoward physically to anyone?
No, ma'am, I've never.
And I want you to be honest with me about this. Have you ever heard him say anything, even in a joking manner, that might be construed as being inappropriate?
No, I have never.
Now, Mr. Rolfin, did your girlfriend and now fiancé ever say that she didn't like the way Mr. Sills was talking to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever go up to him and discuss it with him?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I was very angry and I did not want to take any physical action against Mr. Sells.
That's not physical action.
Well, in
That's not
talking...
physical action. Let's just say, listen, you may think something is cute, but my girlfriend doesn't appreciate it. So I'd like you to not talk to her about anything other than being very professional, rather than writing these sick notes and leaving them on his car unsigned.
But if Ryan would not have done anything to me, there would have been no motive.
I don't believe he did anything to you, madam. I think you're full of baloney. I think maybe you didn't like the way he talked to you, but there isn't a chance in hell that he sexually assaulted you as you outlined in your papers. And what you did was your boyfriend got busted because he wrote nasty notes on the car, and this was your way of gaining leverage. Because if you would have said, well, he talked to me inappropriately, they would not have arrested him. They would not have arrested him. So you fudged it a little bit with the, he rubbed up against me and he touched my back. Now, your boyfriend has an interesting choice of words when he refers to the plaintiff. So he may not have liked him for a variety of reasons. But there is no question in my mind that you are full of it when you say that he physically touched you. So, he was out of work for 33 days. He hired a lawyer. The maximum he is suing for in the jurisdiction where you come from is $3,000.
Yes,
I believe you are entitled to every penny.
Thank
Judgment
you
for the
so
plaintiff.
much,
That's
Judge.
all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And everyone knows that she lied and that I was totally innocent the whole time.
Ryan knows what he did and he should be punished, but he's not.
I've never seen Ryan do anything, and I just knew she was lying.
Stay away from Ryan.
Miss Ballou put me through hell for nothing.
Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
All right, this is case number 77 on the calendar in the matter of Privet versus Ali. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Miss Ali, is this your daughter?
Yes, it is.
Is that your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Getting the picture. Going to be a familiar picture. Miss Privet, according to your complaint, the defendant's daughter, this young lady, moved into your house with your permission.
Yes, ma'am.
And I gather that she had gotten into a teenage snit with her mother and left the house, came to your house. When was that?
Right after my birthday in September of 2001.
Does she still live there?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, am I correct in assuming that the way you know her is through your son?
Yes, ma'am. They're boyfriend and girlfriend.
How lovely. And how old is your son?
He's 20.
You want the defendant to pay support
Yes, ma'am, I
for
do.
her 16-year-old daughter.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And she's been there since September, so coming on to a year. What do you have to say about that?
I have to say about that first of all, my daughter has a home with me. Second of all, I do take care of my daughter financially. I take her to all her doctor appointments. I pay for anything the insurance doesn't. I pay for her birth control. I'm not sleeping with her. I pick her up if
Miss
she
Ali.
gets sick from school.
Miss Ali.
I'm not going to give her money for my minor daughter
let me
to
ask
stay
you,
away
you
from
didn't-
home.
You're not following my
Well, I didn't understand you then. What do
Because you didn't let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Do you have other children at home?
No, I don't.
Who else lives in your home?
Just me and my boyfriend.
Does your daughter get along with the boyfriend?
She never gave him a chance to get along with him.
So the answer is no, she doesn't get along with him.
Mm-hmm.
Does he work?
Oh, he's a nurse.
Has she always lived with you?
Yes, she has.
Ever been out of your care for 16 years?
Yes, she has for
When?
a short period of time.
When?
For 3 months in the year of 2000. I was in a drug program for 90 days.
So there was a time when you were not doing much parenting for her.
Exactly.
About how many years was it that you weren't doing parenting for her?
It wasn't years. It was
Well, if
3
you went
months.
No. You didn't go into a drug program because you didn't have a problem. You had a problem, which is why you went into the drug program. So how long was your problem? A year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years?
Sorry, 2.5 years.
So for a period of at least, if you say 2.5 years, it was probably more, you weren't doing much parenting for her.
No, it was 2.5 years.
Okay. Now, what about your daughter's father? Does he pay child support?
Yes, he does.
How much does he pay in child support?
It's $115 a week, but half of that is arrears, what he's owed me from $24,000 past child support.
Have you gone into court to seek the court's assistance in having your daughter returned to your house?
No.
Have you gone to the police to have your daughter returned to the house?
Yes, I did.
I don't know. What time did you go to the police?
When she first left home.
Did the police go to Miss Privet's house?
No, they did not.
So after the police told you whatever they told you, you dropped it and did not go into the local family court, which would have jurisdiction over your daughter, to have her returned to your house?
That's correct.
Okay. Are you employed?
No, I'm not.
Stand up. Tell me your name.
Danielle Felix.
What happened when you left home?
What happened? What do you mean?
Why won't you tell me why you left home?
Well, my mom had a drug problem, and I didn't really like her boyfriend. He was too demanding and trying to be more of a father-like to me, but I've only known him for 3 years, 3 months, sorry, before then. And my mom was too busy with her other stuff. Like
what other stuff?
Drugs.
Was she still using drugs when you left home?
That's a lie.
Shh. What kind of drugs was she using?
Pain pills. She's been on pain pills for a while now.
What kind of pain pills, do you know?
Oxycontin, like Percocets, Vicodins.
Is that the nature of her drug problem before she went into rehab?
Yes.
Same pain pills?
Yes.
How long has your mother been doing pain pills?
Since I was about 13.
Prior to that, did you have any problem with your mother?
No.
At Miss Privet's house, do you share a room with your boyfriend?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Miss Privet, that's inappropriate.
Yes, ma'am, I know that.
That's inappropriate.
I know.
Why do you permit it?
At first, when she first moved in with us, she was sleeping on the couch, okay, and it was right next to my son's room. And when I went to sleep at night, I didn't know that they were together until one morning I woke up and I found them together. And, you know, I told them I had a problem with it, and they pretty much told me, well, Miss Allison Alley was buying their condoms and birth control pills, so I figured that it was, you know, okay, she was, you know, I know it's wrong and it shouldn't happen, but I don't want to lie to you and tell you that they weren't
No, I
sleeping
know.
together.
I
you know,
got it.
so.
I got it. I got it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have a sense that her mother is still abusing painkillers. Quiet!
Didn't say anything.
Good.
And later today,
That is a lie.
Did I look at you?
No, ma'am, she's lying.
But you're going to have a turn, Mr. Walker, and your turn will come when I say it's your turn.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Susan Privet says the mother of her son's girlfriend, Allison Alley, owes for child support. Susan claims Allison's 16-year-old daughter is now living with her.
Now, Ms. Privet, I don't know what you want to do formally to make whatever custody arrangements you want to make, but I believe that if you want that child support regularly paid to you as legal custodian of Danielle, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go to court to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is your father, Danielle?
My father's at home right now in Pompano.
Your father knows about your living condition?
Yes.
Do you visit with your father?
Once in a while.
Why?
He has his own girlfriend and too busy for me.
Are you going to school?
Yes.
Every day?
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Just about, yeah.
Ma'am, she
not just about is not every day. Yes.
Ma'am, okay. When Danielle first came to live with me, she was not going to school on a regular basis. Miss Alley was moving her around from place to place.
Yeah.
When she first moved in with me, she was going to Silver Lakes. Then she came to live with me, and we registered her at my son's school, which was Lions Creek Middle School. But she's 15 years old, and she was in the 8th grade, so we went down and we signed her up at what we call North Area School of Choice, where they work at their own pace.
signed her up.
Excuse me. Okay.
Just
yes,
a minute.
ma'am. She did take her down because she's a legal guardian, so she had to take her down.
She actually took her down and registered her at school.
Both schools.
Everything for her.
Is that right? Did you register your daughter at both those schools?
Yes, ma'am. I do everything for her, for her school.
Miss Ali,
getting her to school.
please. Please.
I have her
When she
attendance
registered her
record
at
here.
school, whose address did she give?
She gave mine, ma'am, and I have a
Can
letter
I see
from
it,
the-
please?
It's just an envelope. I don't have the report card in there.
And this is your address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Privet, I want you to pay attention to me.
Okay.
Her father should not be paying child support to Miss Ali.
Correct.
The child support check should be coming to you if the court is going to give permission for her to stay with you. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, they may not, because they may not like the living arrangement.
Correct.
The truth of the matter is, what are you going to do with a 16-year-old? A 16-year-old doesn't want to stay someplace else. She can't stay with her mother. Mother's got her own bag of tricks. She can't stay with her father. Clearly, with the permission of both her parents, because they both know where she is, and her mother enrolled her in school giving your address.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, your lawsuit seeks $1,600 for money owed for child care. The truth of the matter is, you'd be entitled, in my judgment, to $4,600 because she's been with you for approximately 40 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
At $115 a week, that's $4,600. Quiet!
Didn't say anything.
Good. Now, you're not suing for $4,600, you're suing for $1,600. That you're going to get. But what you have to do is, if you want a formalized order so that you don't have to keep coming back to court for this, I would strongly suggest that you go into family court. Yes?
Okay, well, I had spoken with her father, and he said that he wanted the child support switched over to me, but he doesn't have the money for an attorney to go to court, and he said, so...
He doesn't have to. You can go to court on your own, seeking guardianship of the child.
Okay.
I have a sense that her mother is not going to contest it, because if her mother contests it, what will happen is they will determine that her mother, based upon her daughter's testimony, is still abusing painkillers. She had a history of substance abuse. They will send her mother for regular drug testing and drug screening. Her mother will not want to go for regular drug screening, and in all probability, they will permit her to stay with you. That's if you make different arrangements as far as where these two children sleep. He's
sleep with
20,
me.
she's 16. That cannot continue. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600.
Thank you, ma'am.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's a wonderful child. She's part of my family.
All she does is allow a roof where they can have sex.
If you love your children, you should do everything in your power to try and keep them.
Don't lay back and hope your daughter's going to come home. Take legal action right away.
If Danielle would like me to, yes, I will.
Yes.
Then yes, we're going to go ahead with
Larry Lehman asked if he could take topless photos of her on his Harley Davidson in exchange for a modeling fee. Portia claims she did the topless photo shoot, but Jerry never paid her the money he promised.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Judges number 195 on the calendar in the matter of Pendleton versus Lehman. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am.
All right, Miss Pendleton, you say Mr. Lehman owes you $1,200 for something about a photo shoot, negatives, and a Harley motorcycle. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
I found it rather difficult to follow the flow of your complaint, so why don't you tell me about this photo shoot first?
Okay, well, basically, in June of 1996, Mr. Lehman approached me with a business opportunity. He told me that...
How did you know Mr. Lehman so that he could approach you?
Oh, he approached me at the bar and restaurant that I worked with. He'd been coming in there for approximately 2 years, and I've gotten to know him over that period of time. So in June, Mr. Lehman approached me. He stated that his motorcycle was going to be published in a magazine on the parts, the custom work he does on Harley, and he needed a model to model with his motorcycle. He told me that the magazine that it was going to be published for was called Easy Rider. It was a biker magazine, and the pictures detailed, bikini, and some of them were going to be topless. And, I checked them out. They were a little cheesy, but not really, really bad. And I went ahead and I bought a copy of the magazine and the type of pictures that I was told I was going to be taken. At that point in time, I told Mr. Lehman I'd be interested in doing it. I was told that it would cost, I would be paid $1,200 if I did my own hair and makeup, and he would take the pictures.
So what you're saying is he said that he would pay you $1,200 to do the photo shoot?
Yes.
It's totally incorrect.
So at that point in time, I went down to a shop probably in the middle of October, and we went ahead and took 2.5 rolls of film. I told Mr. Lehman that, one, I wanted the set closed because I didn't want a whole bunch of people, lagging about, around. And the second thing is that once we were done with the shoot, that I get the negatives and the pictures back of the pictures that he wasn't going to use, because I just didn't want them, floating all over the place. The only reason that I didn't get a contract with Mr. Lehman is because I've known him for 2 years. I considered him a friend, and I thought I could trust him. If I would have known that it would come to this point, I would have had him go through my agency to get me to take these pictures. I have my portfolio book here with the type of shots that I normally do.
Not interested.
Okay.
I assume from the fact that you have a portfolio, and you said something about your agency, that you are really a model and you work in this restaurant that you work in sort of to make money.
Part-time. Yeah,
part-time.
Try to.
In between modeling jobs. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you have a modeling job, you do the shoot and you get paid.
You do get paid, but it's a billing process. The agent bills the client, and you get it within 30 days.
Right. Now you're not dealing with an agent.
Yes.
You're dealing with a friend.
Yes.
So you do the shoot. Did you say to him, give me my money?
No, I expected that it would take between 2 to 3 weeks after it was published.
Why after it was published? When you do a magazine or a photo shoot, you do it and they may publish it 6 months later. They may never publish it, but you get your money.
Well, because that's what Mr. Lehman had told me.
What did he tell you?
He told me that after I took the pictures, the magazine normally takes between 2 to 3 weeks to go ahead and pay. And that's what he was going to give the money for.
Something doesn't sound right there to me. You're not waiting for the magazine, Miss Pendleton, to publish your pictures. You don't give a rat's behind whether the magazine publishes your pictures or not.
No, that's true.
Right? You were doing the photo shoot for him.
Yeah.
Unless your arrangement with him was that you only got paid if the magazine bought the pictures.
Correct.
That's what he says in his answer. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
But he was saying that he was going to wait and give you the money until after he received the pictures were published. That's what he told me.
You can look at me with those gorgeous brown eyes all you like, Miss Pendleton, but I'm telling you, if you're in the business, you know that a magazine could say, I'm not publishing this picture, I don't like this lady, I don't like what she looks like, I don't want the bathing suit, I don't like her hair, I don't like her figure, I don't like her face, and I'm not going to publish the picture.
Yeah.
Right? So unless your agreement with Mr. Lehman was that you got paid if they selected your picture, your conversations with him about waiting until after the magazine was published doesn't make sense.
Okay, Your Honor, I would like to introduce a witness because Mr. Lehman had stated the conversation with another individual.
Oh, I will hear your witness. And your name?
Stacy Kirsten.
Who are you?
I used to work with Porsche at this bar and restaurant many months ago. And I met Jerry because he used to come in there once in a while, and he introduced himself to me with a business opportunity, which never really came to be, but he told me that he had done these pictures with her and that they were published, and he told me, quote unquote, he got a very good sum of money for the pictures.
Were the pictures ever published, sir?
No, ma'am.
So that you were just pulling this lady's leg?
I never told her that.
What'd you tell her?
I haven't never discussed Porsche's business with this woman. They are friends. I have met her. I have talked to her on occasions. I have never discussed any business with her at all.
Are you a photographer or a biker?
A biker, not a photographer. I met Porsche. She has done quite a few of these contests, bikini contests, different contests, and when I talked to her, she seemed to always be strapped for money. So I told her, this magazine right here, that if we took pictures and they accepted them, it pays $500, and it states it right in here. She gets $350, I get $150. I told her at that point, because we had an arrangement where I was building a motorcycle that I'd bought, and I planned on selling it to her way before this even happened. I I told her that if they went in, she could have my $150, keep the $500. She told me at that point, fine, why don't we just deduct it from the bike?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He made a comment that if she had slept with him, he would have given her the bike for free. God is my witness. He said that.
And later today,
He offered to pay you $12 for your cat.
$12.50, Your Honor. He tells me the cats are disposable.
I suppose he feels that same way about his dog.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jerry Lehman says he took topless photos of his friend Portia Pendleton so they could enter the pictures in a contest. Portia says she was to be paid no matter what.
She took the pictures, sir.
Yes, we took the pictures.
All right, so let's move on with it.
But she never filled out the release form and the other requirements, so they could not be sent in.
Did you ever fill out release forms?
No, and the reason that was never done is because I had never agreed to do a contest, and this is a letter that Mr. Lehman wrote me, and he states that a photo of you holding the signed release form with your driver's license is required. Now, if he's stating that I went down there knowingly to enter this contest, why was that never done? Because we had never had that type of agreement.
Well, just a second. Why didn't you ever sign the release when she came into the photo shoot?
To be honest with you, I didn't think about it. I've never done it before.
Good question.
Thank you.
I had not gone through their requirements and read all their requirements. All I knew is I had a few friends that had their girlfriends in the magazine. They said, send it in. When I went through and read everything after we took the pictures, got in touch with her and said, okay, we need to do this.
And what happened?
We never got it done. I never did meet up with her.
What do you mean you never got it done?
I would only meet her where she worked.
So why didn't you bring it to where she worked?
She would only come in on certain days when she had a client. Lots of times I would go. She never showed up for work.
All right. Did you ever have a discussion with her about returning the negatives and all the other pictures to her?
No, ma'am.
Well, where are all the pictures and the negatives?
When I moved my facility in April, we cleaned out the office because I was moving into a small place. I threw everything away. It's 5 months after the fact. I didn't need it. I threw away a lot of my own stuff.
So you don't have them anymore?
No, ma'am.
You understand that if, in fact, any of these pictures surface, she now has the basis for a very substantial lawsuit against you. You understand that? Based upon what you just said to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to rethink that? Where are the pictures and the negatives?
I can only tell you the truth. They've been in the dumpster since April.
You better hope nobody takes them out.
Your Honor, he had even made comments to me when I discussed a business proposition with him. He made a comment that if she had slept with him, he would have given her the bike for free. God is my witness. He said that. So, I think he has these pictures, and he did tell me they were published. He said
Just a second. Listen to me. If he told you at some time that the pictures were published and he made a lot of money, that's because he is a blowhard. Right?
It is true.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the $500 that you gave him for this bicycle.
Okay, because
Did you give him $500 as a down payment for the bike?
Yes, I gave him.
Good.
And he gave me the key.
Did she give you $500 for the bike?
She has never given me a penny in her life. And what they need is lie detector machines sitting right here on each table.
Show me the canceled check for the $500 that you gave him.
I didn't give him a check, I gave him cash, but he gave me the key to the motorcycle, and he told me that he would deliver the motorcycle in a couple of weeks because it was having mechanical problems.
Where did you get the $500 from?
From working.
So you keep all the money that you make in cash?
Some of it, yes, and then, when I do my modeling jobs, I have the checks and I deposit them into my account.
In a bank account? Mm-hmm. In a checking account, because that's where you keep the money that you receive, because you have to pay taxes on it, right? Mm-hmm. You write checks for your rent, right?
That's true.
You write checks for your telephone,
but
right? Right?
That's correct.
You write checks for your credit cards, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe you. I believe him. I believe that what you just agreed to do was to do a contest. I don't believe that he agreed to pay you $1,200 even if the pictures weren't published. That's a lot of nonsense. He's not a photographer. He's a biker. And I don't believe that you gave him $500. So your case is dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, sir, excused. You may step out. Back go to your right.
For a bottle of booze, you're going to give somebody a key to a $3,500 Harley Davidson, especially, somebody that you're not in any type of relationship
Key don't do
for.
any good without the motorcycle.
And now the next case.
Parties on Malcolm versus Tripp. Step forward, please.
Attorney John Malcolm says his cat Virginia was killed by his neighbor, Gerald Tripp's pit bull. Gerald has offered to pay $12.50 to replace the cat. But John says that is not enough.
Mr. Tripp, this is your dog?
Yes, ma'am.
Your dog killed the plaintiff's cat.
So they
You don't
say.
seem to deny that.
Well, I don't know that for sure neither.
Put your hands down, sir. From your answer to Mr. Malcolm's complaint, you sort of... Am I boring you?
Definitely. I apologize.
Well, then I'll try to make it as fast as possible. Mr. Malcolm, you two were neighbors?
Yes, we are.
I would like you to tell me what you observed. Give me the date of the incident.
July 29th, at about 1:15 in the morning, I was awoken by the loud barking of a dog and the scream of a cat. And this was a horrific scream. It wasn't like an ordinary cat fight. It was a bloody murder type scream. I got up out of bed, ran to the other end of the house, looked out the kitchen window, and in my field of view, which is about 30 degrees, I could see at least two people standing, not more than this distance from here to the dog, watching that dog attack our cat.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell him how you really
It
feel.
stopped.
Tell him, Malcolm. Come on. Tell him.
How do I really feel?
Tell him how you
I
feel,
would like to have a piece of him. I
Yeah.
really would.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Malcolm says he witnessed the killing of his cat by his neighbor Gerald Tripp's pit bull. Gerald says cats are disposable.
Where did this happen, sir?
This happened about 10 feet away from our front porch.
Okay, so it was on your property.
Yes, it was.
What did you do?
I ran to the back of the bedroom, got my pants and a flashlight, and ran out. And I think I said something like, "Hey, you guys just killed my cat." The dog was already gone at that point. He was already gone.
You mean the defendant?
The defendant. His brother Rodney.
That's this young man here?
Yes, seated with the dog. And another young man, also with a close cropped haircut like that, turned and walked away. I knelt down and saw Virginia, and she was just ripped to shreds. She was crushed.
How long had you had the cat, sir?
I've had her for 12 years, and she's been a beloved family member. My wife and children have cared a great deal about her.
Okay, Mr. Tripp, I'll hear your side of the story, sir. I'm going to make this fast so that you don't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Put your hands down.
I was woken up by my dad that said the cops were outside, wanted to talk to me about my dog killing a cat.
Listen to me. Slowly. You were awakened by your father.
Yeah, I was awakened by the old man. He woke me up, said, "Come outside. The cops want to talk to you about your dog killing a cat." So I went outside. I find this dude right here. He was kicking it. And then two cops and a dead cat. I get with my family and they fill me in on what had happened.
Did you see what happened, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up here.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a little more articulate than your brother.
Yeah.
Yo, hold on to that dog.
Come here, man.
Put the dog on a leash.
The dog's on a leash.
And hold it. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, ma'am. I was woke by my friend Greg, the other witness that he mentioned. He came inside yelling that there was someone breaking into my vehicle. I went outside, and when I ran outside the front door, Max followed me. I observed the cat in the corner of my eye in my front yard. My dog ran over to the cat as I was running to the car. Ran to the car, I seen it got broke into.
Try looking at me.
The steering column and everything was busted out, and I could hear the cat screaming. So I look over, and next thing I know, he comes running outside. "Your dog's killing my cat. Your dog's killing my cat." I was
But by this time, sir, the dog and the cat were on his property.
The dog chased the cat onto his property.
The dog chased the cat onto his property.
Yeah, after it was
Good.
in our front yard.
Sit down. So once this happened, which one of these two geniuses said to you, "Too bad about your cat, man"?
This one.
Yeah, sounds right. All right, and he offered to pay you $12 for your cat. Because
$12.50, Your Honor.
Because
he tells
he
me
said-
that cats are disposable.
Mm-hmm.
One's as good as another.
I suppose he feels that way about his dog.
Your Honor?
You don't feel the same way about your dog?
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Easy come, easy go.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Mr. Tripp, how old are you, sir?
22, ma'am.
22. And how do you support yourself?
Unemployed.
So you don't support yourself?
Correct.
How many times have you been arrested?
How many times have I been arrested?
That was my question. I understood my question.
You know, it's really, I want to say once. One time that I remember. He knows all about it. He was asking me about it the other day.
And who do you live with?
I live with my father.
Who else?
My dog. My brother. The other members of our family.
Uh-huh.
Who do you live with?
You ever been in a drug rehabilitation program?
Man, that's none of your business, I feel.
Well, I'll tell you what is my business, Mr. Tripp. I'm awarding the plaintiff $1,500. It's more than he's requested for the damage that was done to his family emotionally and the damage to his cat and the suffering that the cat suffered. Sir, you've only been arrested according to your statement once at this time in your life. You continue with that kind of an attitude when you're in court. I guarantee you this will not be the last time you're before a judge. That's all.
All right, excuse. You may step out.
See that, right? That wasn't so bad, huh?
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Hey, it's a dog-eat-dog world, man. Why wasn't your cat in your yard? Why wasn't your cat in your house? If you had a $1,500
You can see what an
cat,
aggravation is having to deal with a young man like this who he just flat doesn't care.
It's not my fault. You're an old sap. Would you know Brian? Are you Brian's friend?
Brian hasn't even been in our house.
Yeah, since he got bit by your Rottweiler.
Since he broke $250 worth of windows and burned our hedge with his bottle rockets.
Well, it's not my fault. His kids and your kids and my kids are all corrupt.
I mean, you want to go on and on and on?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go on and on and on.
I'm trying to be civil about this.
Oh, civil suit, civil action.
And
it's all good.
It's difficult under the circumstances
Civil code.
not to resort to frontier justice.
Well, that's what he does. I don't know if it's because of childhood problems that he had. You know, he got beat up by the kid that was taking his Twinkies all the time, so he had to pursue civil actions.
Their high school yearbook because she says out of jealousy, Sarah deliberately used an ugly photo for her senior portrait.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Now, this is case number 268 on the calendar in the matter of Rice versus Gardner. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, please, sir.
You graduated from high school?
Correct.
You were in charge of the high school yearbook?
Correct. The senior section.
Where they put all the pictures of the seniors, and underneath it, you know, most likely to succeed, most likely to have 10 children before 30th birthday, those little things, right? And Miss Rice, you claim in this lawsuit where you're asking for $3,500 that the defendant caused a very ugly picture of you to be placed in the yearbook.
Correct.
Not the picture you had selected.
Correct.
And that's because the two of you had some sort of a history together.
Correct.
So tell me about it.
She disliked me due to my relationship with her now ex-boyfriend, who's my witness. And she was very jealous, and this is a very malicious and dishonest thing to do. And
let me see the picture that she put of you in the yearbook.
This is the picture that was supposed to be in there, and if you notice, it says yearbook selection on the back. And I verified that with the photography studio
Oh, that's not such a bad picture in there.
My eyes are half shut. It's not the point that it's like a horrible picture. It's the point that everybody that turns to that picture is going to see me and remember me as that. And that's not what I want. And that wasn't what I asked for.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that I looked at it because I was really picturing something that looked like Quasimodo based upon what you wrote in your complaint. I mean, you're a very pretty young lady. It would be very hard to make you look ugly. I want to tell you something. The truth of the matter is, I sort of like this one better than this one, but that's just my own personal taste. Let's find out what the defense is for putting the picture that she had not selected in the yearbook. Miss Gardner.
Okay. There's about 300 senior pictures that were in my charge. What was supposed to happen is that seniors were supposed to specify which picture they wanted in the yearbook.
Show her the back of that picture.
Either they were to call their photo company.
No.
Right.
She did that. She did everything she was supposed to do. Miss Gardner, I want you to look at me and tell me whether, when you selected that picture for her, did you get a stack of them from the photographer?
Yes, we got a whole box of envelopes.
Okay. That you took any special care in selecting her picture?
No. There were 3 other individuals that worked with me the first day. Turi, who is my witness, worked with me on the first day, and then there were 2 other individuals who helped me.
You worked with her?
Yes.
Step up here.
And what we did is that the seniors that did specify which picture they wanted,
she did that.
Right. The numbers that did indicate, we pulled those pictures. And
Hers did.
And then the 3/4 of the seniors who did not specify, we were advised by Mr. Sonemaker to pick the top photo from each envelope.
Okay, but she picked which photo she wanted. It's on the back of her photo, that's the one she picked.
If Mr. Sonemaker had a meeting with her and she specified, he did not let me know. We did divide up the pictures between me and the other 3 individuals that worked with me, and since we were working very fast, no, I don't know who handled Audra's picture.
Do you remember who handled her picture?
No, I going through, it takes you about 2 minutes to do each one, and you don't even look at their names really. You just look to see if the barcode was there. And
now, Miss Rice, other than the fact that you have a history with Miss Gardner over you.
Correct. In which?
What other evidence do you have that she purposely picked the wrong picture to put in your yearbook?
Okay, this is what
here we go.
The process I went through.
I know the process you went through. You picked the right picture. You put the right thing on the back. Just tell me what proof you have that she purposely selected the wrong picture. Do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Just a minute.
Your Honor, on the last day of school, she was pestering me to get me to sign her yearbook.
Who was?
Miss Gardner. And she said that, do you see Audra's picture? And I said, yeah. And she laughed hysterically as if to say that she did it herself. She said, ha ha ha, did you see how funny it looked?
So she just laughed and said, did you see her picture? Don't tell me as if yours in your mind. What she said was, did you see Audra's picture? And she laughed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you do that?
No, I did not. I would like to add that...
Just a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Sure you did. Sure you did. That's exactly what you said to him. Don't give me a lot of baloney.
Can I please add something?
Add it.
Okay, I did not say that to him. I do feel that...
What did you say to him? I'm not interested in what you feel. What did you say to him?
Actually, from what I remember, there was a lot of goofing off. There was other people there. Jacob did run into a fellow who did want to fight him.
What do you remember about the picture?
What do I remember about the picture?
About the conversation about the picture.
There was no conversation about a picture. I feel that he's not a credible witness. I do have a restraining order against this gentleman.
You do?
Yes.
Can I see
right
it?
Here.
I also have notes that she wrote displaying her disgust for Audra. This is going to be a quote directly from Sarah. I saw Audra at lunch, and if it weren't for my heavy bag and a cigarette, her ass would have been down. She continues to say about how upset she is, and then she says, I don't really mind. It's not you that I care about and don't want to hurt, it's them.
Let me see the restraining order. Curious about this. He looks like butter would melt in his mouth, right? Why did you get an order of protection against him?
I was being stalked. There were times when he's tried to strangle me. Coming to my house late at night, I felt very unsafe.
And you had a hearing on this, a trial?
Yes, I did.
Were you represented by an attorney at this trial?
He did not show up.
I was in Utah.
What were you doing in Utah?
I went on a road trip with my parents.
You mean you knew you had a court date and you didn't show up? That requires an answer, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was pretty stupid. That was pretty stupid. How old are you?
18.
Did you tell your parents you had a court date?
Yeah, when we were in Utah.
The more I spend time here, the more I love my children.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I believe, no matter what you tell me, that you selected a picture of her different from the one that she had selected just to give her an old zinger.
And later today,
well, he didn't give us much of a chance really to get out of the way. He used his car as a battering ram.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 18-year-old Audra Sullivan Rice is suing her classmate and editor of their high school yearbook, Sarah Gardner, claiming Sarah deliberately selected an ugly photo for her senior portrait. Sarah claims it wasn't her job to pick the photos.
The picture of you in the yearbook isn't terrible. As a matter of fact, I think I like it a little bit better than the one you selected. I do, however, think that there was some design to get that picture in there. It just seems too coincidental to me that she's in charge of the yearbook, she can't stand you, you pick a picture and a different picture goes in there, right? And there's all just too much coincidence that doesn't sit comfortably with me. But if she picked the wrong picture, truth of the matter is, I think she picked a better one. So I don't think you should be that discouraged. Okay. And Miss Gardner, there's a certain thing about misusing your authority. If anything, you should have been far more careful about selecting her picture as making sure it was the right picture.
Right, but there was no specification.
Oh, yes, there was. Yeah. You keep saying there was no specification, and I'm telling you.
There were a lot of seniors who did come to my attention that they did specifically pick a picture, and then they
look at the back of the picture. Would you hands on the picture? I don't want them to touch each other. Right? What does that say back there?
Actually, I did not.
I didn't ask you what you see. I asked you what it said back there.
Yearbook selection.
Okay. Bottom line is, I believe, no matter what you tell me, that you selected a picture of her different from the one that she had selected just to give her an old zinger. The fact that you happen to have picked one that wasn't terrible and that I really think is much nicer is really not the issue. It's not, you're not damaged $3,500 worth, madam.
What I wanted to
You're not damaged $3,000 by this photograph. You're damaged maybe a lesson. So what's a lesson? Less there's $100, Bird.
That's good.
$100 for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
Parties on Gorman versus Siemens. Step forward, please.
Mike Gorman says, while attempting to retrieve a package during a UPS strike, picketer Don Siemens pounded his sign on the hood of his car, causing severe damage.
All right, Mr. Gorman, you were expecting an important package that was to arrive, unfortunately, during the UPS strike.
That's correct.
And you had to go and pick that package up at the warehouse, correct?
Yes.
Your complaint alleges that when you went there, the defendant was one of the strikers, he was online, and he damaged your car.
That's correct.
You want to tell me what happened, please?
Yes, actually, I made arrangements to have the package shipped to me by FedEx because of...
Listen, sir, I got other cases to do today.
I understand.
At some point, you had to go and pick up your package at the UPS warehouse.
That's correct.
You're in your car.
I'm in my car.
And you're driving there.
Yes.
And what do you see?
The strikers were blocking the returning trucks, and I circled the block numerous times until the police finally arrived. I went in with the returning trucks, picked up my package, and when I left, I knew it was going to be trouble. And several of the strikers were marching very close and impeding my exit. And they started jumping on the front of my car and on the trunk. They were pounding on the windows, cursing at me, chanting slogans. I inched along, and the police finally came over and removed the people on my car.
They were actually on your car?
Oh, yes, ma'am. At least 8 of them.
Okay.
On the front and the back. And Mr. Siemens was the last to be removed. And when he exited, he took his sign and pounded it into my hood, and I immediately stopped the car, and the police separated us, and he went over and took our names and information.
What was the cost of the damage to your car?
Approximately $500.
You have the bill?
I do.
All right, Mr. Siemens.
I think he's living in a fantasy world. I can't believe this.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you interrupting me? Two people can't talk at the same time. And when my mouth is moving, you have to be quiet.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mike Gorman is suing UPS worker Don Siemens for damaging his car with a picket sign during a strike. Don says he was only trying to get out of the way when Mike drove through the picket line, nearly running him over.
You're on strike.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You're circling.
We were walking the sidewalk there, yes, back and forth.
So tell me what happened.
Well, he didn't give us much of a chance, really, to get out of the way. He used his car as a battering ram and knocked us, some of us out of the way, myself onto the hood, and trying to get off of the hood the best I could. I guess my sign hit his car somehow.
What were you doing in front of his car?
Well, we were on the picket line.
No, what were you, not wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What were you doing?
I'm sorry.
Listen, you're walking around with a sign, Mr. Siemens.
Back
you
and
see
forth.
his car. You have several choices. You can either move to the side and make way for him to leave.
He didn't give us enough time, Your Honor. No, I didn't, honest. There was about 20 of us out there, 15 to 20 of us. And he hit 5 or 6 of us. Jason was there to contest it.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Sure.
Okay, we were ordered by our union to go on strike. We're all in front of the building striking. The plaintiff comes, he did not even slow down. He almost hit 3 of us when he was coming in, did not slow down. I don't know where he's getting this, I inched in, inched out. He didn't do anything. Okay, so when he's coming out, we had more people come out to block him because this is ridiculous, the fact that he came in and almost ran us over. I mean, we're pedestrians.
Just a second.
All right.
You just said a very important thing, sir. You said you had a lot more people out there to block him. That's what you just said.
Right. Well, we set up.
Just a second. Hey, that's exactly what he said, sir. He said there were people blocking him, cursing at him. Right? Mr. Cronky.
We were telling him to stop.
You were telling him to stop what?
Because I was right in front of his car, and we were telling him to stop because he was running me over. His bumper was pushing right into my legs.
Why didn't you just walk away, Mr. Cronky?
Because he was already running into me at the time, Your Honor.
No, Mr. Cronky. My recollection of the UPS strike is that there were managers driving the trucks, correct?
Well, while the policemen were there.
Yeah, yes, is that correct?
Yes, management.
And is it also correct that they were being heckled, for want of a better term, as the trucks were going in and out?
We were just stopping them from doing their course of business. We were setting up a picket line.
You were stopping them
Yes. We were not
from going into their building.
Isn't that the whole purpose of a picket line?
Yes.
Isn't that the purpose of a picket line?
Just
no, sir.
We're disrupting.
No, sir. That's not the purpose of a picket line. Let me ask you this question, sir. Do you believe
that if this gentleman was going to pick up his package and he had a clear path to go into...
I have a clear path, Your Honor.
Are you interrupting me? Two people can't talk at the same time. And when my mouth is moving, you have to be quiet. Do you think that if this man, who was doing nothing more than going to pick up his package, got there, saw your picket line, and there was a path for him to go in, pick up his package, and come out, we would be standing here today? No.
He went in about 30 miles an hour also into the driveway. And on the way out, there were more pickets for him to go through.
There were,
what right does that give him to run into us, Your Honor?
I don't believe, sir, that he ran into you. I believe that you were blocking him. That's what he just said. They brought out a whole bunch of other people to block him.
I believe
that's what your witness just said to me, Mr. Siemens.
We walked back and forth the street. That's what a picket line's for.
I believe at the time I was a pedestrian and an automobile hit me. Is there something right with that?
That's what you believe?
Yeah, what right
That's what you believe? How many people were out there on the picket line by the time he came out?
Approximately 20.
Okay, so there are 20 people, and he's one person in his car. Do you think that that's intimidating with people yelling and screaming and cursing? You think that that's intimidating? You can't tell me that you weren't yelling at the people who were going into...
No, ma'am.
Mr. Siemens.
We were not yelling.
He wasn't there for any other purpose than to pick up his package.
We had no
and
idea.
run over a few people. That's all right.
Well, run over a few people.
I don't see how that gives him the right to run over, to hit us.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You have no right to inhibit him from going to pick up his package in any way. What if it contained insulin for his baby that he needed? You didn't give a damn. It didn't make any difference. What was in this package?
Excuse me.
It could have been penicillin, it could have been a heart transplant, it could have been anything else. The fact that it was, what was it, computer equipment or something?
It was an item I needed for my business.
Your business was impeding business as usual for UPS. That's a legitimate thing to do as far as a strike is concerned, letting people know you're on strike, that you have a grievance. He's an individual citizen and he has a right to go and pick up his property. And if he chooses to go through your picket line, if he chooses to do that, that's his choice. And you have no right to impede that. You owe him $461.85, which was the cost to fix his car. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We were not picketing the customers. And we would have opened up and let him through. He didn't give us time.
He didn't even slow down when he came in to get his package.
Your line here is bringing disgrace to the Teamsters Union and especially the...
Oh, God, you gotta be kidding
and
me.
especially the
That doesn't have anything to do with it. That does not have anything to do with it. You ran into me.
After he and Cammie split up, she began harassing him for money.
Order, all rise. This is number 252 on the calendar in the matter of Teeters, Holman versus Slatter. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Who's Mrs. Teeters? Is that you? Miss Holman?
Yeah.
Mother and daughter. Former live-in boyfriend.
Correct.
I have two complaints here, and according to both complaints, at some point you met him and he moved into your house. Your house. And did you move in there with your child, sir?
Yes.
You have a daughter?
Yes.
How old is she?
3.
You have custody of her?
Not full custody, no.
Were you living with her full time when you moved into their house?
With my daughter, partial time, half and half.
Okay. And according to the complaint, during the time that he lived there, each of you were foolish enough to let him use a credit card, and he ran up substantial bills on those credit cards, and then took off. Why don't you start? First, what prompted you to let him move into the house?
Well, I was going to rent a room to somebody anyway to help me make ends meet, and they were getting together, and he was interested in moving out from his mother's place. She was driving him nuts or something, so he needed a place to live. So it worked out. It seemed fine for both of us.
But according to these papers, he moved into your daughter's room.
Yes, they were a couple by then.
So that didn't help to pay your bills if...
Well, he was going to pay rent. Yes, he was paying rent.
He was paying rent?
Yes, he paid the rent.
How much rent did he pay?
$400 a month.
Okay, now would you mind telling me why you gave him a credit card?
It started out just, he wanted to make some purchases and he only got paid every 2 weeks, and he was gaining weight, needed clothes and what have you, and he would give me a post-dated check. And I let him do that, and he did. The first couple of purchases, he gave me a check, and I held it, and then, when he got paid and it was good, I mailed it in to the credit card company.
Did you give him his own credit card, or did you just let him use yours?
No, he had authorization. Cammie has copies of my cards. We have, 2 cards on the account, so if she was with him and they were shopping, they would get something and put it on my card. And he gave me a check and paid me back. So the first 2 or 3 times, that was swell, it worked. And he wanted to make some larger purchases, and the arrangement...
Like what?
Oh, well, he was trying to build his car to race, so he wanted like a transmission, and he had this good deal and a converter and different things that he was buying. And the arrangement was that he would make the payments to the credit card company, and that worked for me because then I didn't have to come up with the minimum. My minimum would be met. And he would get behind, like it would be 2 or 3 months. I'd get phone calls from the creditors and they'd say, "You're behind," and I would check with him and he'd say, "Oh, I mailed it, I'll call him and straighten it out." So he did make some small payments on the minimums on the account. I can't say for the first few months because it would be 2 or 3 months before he made a payment, but you see,
Okay, now how much does he owe altogether on your credit card? Take it out. We'll show it to him. Together with the purchase.
The total that I have mine made up for is $4,926.60. That's documented amounts.
Okay. Have you shown those to him, those charges?
Yes, he has copies. He
You
has
have
been
copies
given
of those,
copies
sir?
in the past of all
I've had
of them.
copies. I don't have them with me now.
But you've seen them?
I've seen them, yeah.
Good. Now what about your credit card?
Okay, my credit card started out with he needed a gas tank fixed in his 68 Camaro because at the beginning of our relationship, that was his transportation to work. He didn't have the money.
First, what prompted you to have him come into your house? How long had you known each other before you decided to move him into your house?
We were friends before, and then we got together, and we were together every day since. And so
How long?
How long? That once we got together?
Now, how long were you friends first?
Oh, May of '96.
Yes.
And then got together July 4th.
Of 96?
Yes.
A really long courtship. At least 8 weeks.
Well, he's a very smooth talker. I was also coming out of a bad marriage, and it's nice when someone tells you, all these wonderful things about you, makes you feel wanted and loved, which is what I needed at the time, I guess. And I think he played on that too, but that's a personal thing.
So he moved in?
Yes. And we made a room for his daughter. She had her very own room. My mom and I purchased all the stuff to decorate it. We made them, it was their home.
Are any of these bills for what you did in furnishing his daughter's room?
No. And Tiffany has her bedding and stuff. Her mother has it. She uses it with Tiffany.
But those were gifts?
Right, those were gifts, yes.
Okay, but so now tell me about how you came to give me a credit card.
He needed a gas tank, like I said, the repair, and he didn't have the money. And,
Did you know that he was already using your mother's credit card?
No, he hadn't. He used mine before he used my mom's.
Did you know that he had used your daughter's before you let him use yours?
I don't really remember if I knew it specifically that he had.
Go ahead.
So we got his gas tank repaired. He was driving a long distance, and he'd run out, basically have to fill up just to get back home because it was all pouring out on the ground.
And how much was that?
That was $120. That's rough. I mean, I have it of the credit card thing.
Okay, but there were a lot of bills here, according to you. $3,000 some odd worth.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She came in just ranting and raving because I was leaving. She didn't want me to leave. And then after she hit me, I defended myself and pushed her to the ground. Yes, I did.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 25-year-old Cammie Holman says the man she thought she loved, 24-year-old Jeffrey Slater, conned her and her mother, Lois Teeters, out of thousands of dollars. Jeffrey says Cammie is angry because they broke up.
Give me an idea of what he was purchasing on your credit card.
On mine specifically?
Not yours.
Robinson's May. He needed new clothes. Like my mom stated, he had gained weight when we got together. I guess he liked my mom's cooking. I don't know. So there were lots of purchases for new clothes for him, as well as one of his mom's Christmas present was purchased on my Robinson's May card.
Did you purchase your mother's Christmas present on her credit card?
She purchased it, yeah.
He was with me at shopping. His mother would not have gotten a Christmas present, or her boyfriend, if it hadn't been me paying for it.
Well, I understand that, but did he say, can I buy my mother a Christmas present and put it on your card?
No.
Shh. Did he say that to you?
He said, I said, we need to go shopping and buy your mom something. He said, well, what should we do? I said, well, let's go to Robinson's May and get something for her. So we went, because I have a Robinson's May card. But that's only $21.54. That's...
Well, you see, that's a problem.
Right.
Because in order to have an agreement for him to pay you back, there has to be some sort of an agreement. This wasn't a, you know, I'll lend you the money to buy your mom a Christmas present.
So we can get rid of the Christmas present.
So give me
that's
some
fine.
others.
Okay, so he got clothes for him, $297.25, $132.50, $43.09. Those are all clothes for him.
Give me some of the big bills that come up to $3,000.
Jacob's electronic system, that is an electronic system for his 68 race car, his Camaro. It's an electronic system.
And how much was that?
Part of it was $515.44. The other part is $281.85.
Does that, Mr. Slater, have a familiar ring to it?
I know exactly what the Jacob system is.
No, but does that bill?
Yeah, the bill, no, I know exactly what it is.
Well, then tell me about it, sir.
Well, during the time that we were living together, I went ahead and we were building my race car, or at the time we were building it.
What do you mean we were building your race car?
They were helping me purchase items for my car.
Yeah.
And during that time, I purchased an electronic system for making the car run proper. And I went ahead, ordered it with their consent. And when it came in, as time came on, I gave money for it over a period of time.
So you're telling me that you paid it all off?
I'm not saying I paid everything, because a lot of the stuff that we had purchased were purchases together.
No, not for your car.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Let's just talk about the car. I mean, I read your answer, and you seem to say, I don't owe her anything. That these were things that were purchased sort of as a couple.
A lot of stuff was purchased as a couple, yes, but as the car, over the course of time that I've lived there, I have paid money to the credit card companies
How
direct.
much? Show me.
This here, what I have in my hand is basically a check register on two different things that shows documentation.
I'm not interested in your check register, sir.
Well, what I'm saying is this here shows what I paid, when I paid, and amounts.
It shows nothing. Canceled checks show what you paid.
Okay, well, I can get canceled checks, but I did not get any, no.
Well, where did you think you were coming today, sir? To a ball? You were coming to court. What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a store manager.
Which means that you know something about business.
Correct.
Right? You can take a check register and sit down and do it almost like a novel. Write whatever you want in there. That's why we use canceled checks as proof. What is that? That is nothing. A check register is a nothing. How much did he pay in total on your credit card?
I don't know. I didn't include any of the ones that he had paid.
None?
No.
And what about you, Cammie?
He gave me about $140. That went to, he took my car to Bakersfield.
Whatever. He gave you about $140.
Yes.
Can I see some of these? Now I want to take a look at some of the charges.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, just the whole package. Yeah.
There's letters in there saying, we highlighted some.
I don't want the letters. I just want to see the.
It just says that he's going to pay us. So I didn't know that particular one right there on top.
Jacob's Electronics ignition system, $515. Is that you?
That was mine.
Okay. How about a trip to Texas airfare? What is that?
When we were dating, we were going to plan a trip to go to my father's house, and I didn't have the money at the time, and she made the arrangements with my job. She went ahead and purchased the tickets for me, Cammie, and my daughter, and we flew out.
So this was for me to go back and meet his family, to meet his family.
Is that what the trip was intended for, sir?
It was just supposed to be a trip for all of us to go visit, because I haven't seen my father in quite a few years.
Well, why should she pay for that?
It was a gesture. She said okay, and then I was going to pay part of it.
You were going to pay part of it?
Yeah, I was.
How much?
As much as my plane ticket was.
And what about your daughter?
Well, we hadn't talked about that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Pay $72 to get your hair styled. They're ripping you off, sir.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cammie Holman says she thought she loved 24-year-old Jeffrey Slater until she realized he was conning her and her mother, Lois Teeters. Jeffrey denies the allegation.
We have something here. Spark plugs.
Yeah, he bought new spark plugs and wires for his car, Excel. I was at an auto parts store. Hey, they wouldn't take his check.
Is that you, sir? Spark plugs.
Yes,
Does that sound familiar? Why don't you pay your own bills? Why are you relying on these two ladies to pay your bills?
During that particular thing there, they would not accept a check from me at that time for whatever reason.
So why don't you just give them cash? Everybody accepts cash.
I didn't have cash on me.
Well, why don't you just go to the bank and get cash?
Well, we were going to, but Cammie said, well, why don't we just put it on my charge and then you can pay me back.
He said, can we just use your charge instead of having to leave and go to the bank and come back?
All right. Look, there came a time when you left, right?
Yes.
Why?
Things were working out between us, and I decided, things were going to work out for the long term, and I wanted to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I left, things started getting more hectic. I had to have the cops called on her at my job.
Why is that, sir?
Because he hit me and threw me on the ground and left bruises, which the bruise pictures are at home. We accidentally forgot him.
When she came in my job, she come in ranting and raving because she didn't want me to leave, first of all. And
because you owe my mom money.
Okay. She came in just ranting and raving because I was leaving. She didn't want me to leave. And then after she hit me, I defended myself and pushed her to the ground. Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I got up, grabbed the phone to make a phone call to the police. And at that time, when I started coming up, she comes around our counter bin and hangs up the phone. And then grabs me by the hair and just yanks a ton of hair out.
What happened.
And then during that time, then she's saying, well, you owe my mom this, you owe my mom that, and I want it this and that. And then my phone rang. I finally got away from Cammie. And when the phone rang, I answered the phone, and it was the Fullerton Police Department when they had to come out and take her.
How much after you left did this incident occur? Assuming, sir, that what you say is true, how much after you left did she come to your job?
Oh, she came to my job a couple times, but we had numerous amount of phone calls during the day. And then what finally ended up happening after I had the cops come, I had to leave that job and go to a whole different area and get away from them because of the phone calls and everything else. I was in the verge of losing my job because of it.
And how much money have you sent to both plaintiffs since you left?
Since I left?
Yes.
Not specifically to them, but that I sent to the credit card companies are probably around maybe $800 or so.
Just a minute. $800?
Roughly.
Show me the last bill here. And now, in what month did you leave, sir?
May.
Now take out your last check register. I love it when a game plan comes together. Your last check register, sir, since May.
This particular one right here is one of the last ones that I made.
The last bill that came from NBNA and stuff, I think, is what you want.
May. What date did he leave?
May 1st.
May 1st.
That's what time I told him to get out. He came.
Just a second. Shh. Is your credit card MBNA?
That's mine.
That's yours. All right. So here we have MBNA, $140. And then we're going to go down, and I'm going to see if I can find after May the rest of the $800. Let's see here. I must be missing something.
It might be right in April, too, when I paid some money.
We're not talking about April. I'm talking about since you left, sir.
Well,
I speak English. Do you speak English?
Yeah.
You said after May, after you left, he gave her about $800, and that your check register is accurate. So I see May 15th, $140. I'm just looking for the rest of the $800. I see one in July to a Powerhouse Gym for $350.
No,
Mr. Slater?
That's something else.
That's something else.
And that might be not be the most current one because I had to change bank accounts.
No, this goes, sir, through all of the months. June, July, August. This does
I know,
everything.
but I have 2 different checking accounts.
I don't know exactly. Sir, you see anything written on my forehead? Huh?
No.
Who's Nicole?
My hairstylist.
Pay $72 to get your hair styled.
He pays for his
They're ripping you off,
girlfriends
sir. Well, so far, sir, all I see of the $800 is $140. Nothing else. I see another $380 for your gym. Spend a lot of money between your haircuts and gym. Nothing for what you owe.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Sir, you have to take responsibility for what you do. These people are not related to you by blood. They are not related to you by marriage.
Thank God.
You had a relationship with this young lady. She thought it would work out. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. In any event, you spent a lot of their money. Not only did you spend it, you enjoyed it, and you have the fruits of it. You're driving around in a car unless you sold it that they fixed. You're wearing nice clothes that they paid for. You have a nice stereo system that you listen to. And on and on and on, based on these bills that you say you saw. So you owe them the money. And your excuse that you didn't have an agreement with them is just a lot of baloney. I mean, I don't think that these are ladies that have an awful lot of money. And I think, furthermore, your conduct, knowing that you owe them the money, and spending in 2 months' period of time almost $800 on a gym and $70 to get your hair coiffed is a lot of nerve. So the judgment in the case is for one plaintiff in the amount of $3,000 and the other in the amount of $4,900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She's a very jealous person, but that's besides the point.
I also have witnesses that saw him the night I found out he cheated on me. He took my head and shoved it in the car seat. But that's a different story. I'm out of that relationship, and I'm glad because I'm still alive.
For Johnson, her car. While Albert was driving, his new fiancée, Sharitha Cornell, smashed into it, but she denies it.
Order, all rise. Quiet, please. Your Honor, it's number 147 on the calendar in the matter of Smith versus Cornell. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, sir.
Are you Albert?
Ma'am.
Didn't you know you were coming to court today?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you wearing shorts for?
I thought I'm saying it was going to be nice.
All right, Miss Smith.
Yes.
Albert over here, the one in the shorts, is the father of your daughter.
Yes.
And you're engaged to him now.
Right.
According to your complaint, you lent Albert your car.
Yes, I did.
And she hit your car.
Yes, she did.
You weren't in the car.
No.
She was in the car.
In her car.
And you were driving.
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, because she I want to make a point that I have the statements from the officer that she gave her complaint to. She said that she was in the car, she was driving when this happened.
Okay, but she wasn't.
And she
was not in the car.
Albert. Stand up here. You want to stand on that side? Shh.
Order.
Tell me what happened when you borrowed her car.
I bought a car, then I had a Cornell on Grand. So I had got out the car, I had parked her car in the front of her car,
You parked her car in front of her car.
Right. Then I had
Yes.
just put her car in reverse and backed up into her car.
Just a minute.
Why you lying?
Miss Smith, Miss Smith, I don't want you to say anything. I'm in charge here. Let me be in charge. I like being in charge. Get up here, Albert. Right up here. Shh. You borrowed her car. You saw her driving in her car. So far, am I right?
Yes.
Was her car parked or moving when you saw it?
Parked.
Was she in it?
No. She was in the store.
So what did you do?
I had one of my friends that told me they had seen her in her car. Then it was another guy driving that car. So I helped her buy the car that.
Don't tell me what your friend told me. You were annoyed.
Right. And I backed up into her car with her car.
So you're telling me her car was parked?
Yes.
Your fiancé.
Yes.
And you pulled in front of the car, pulled into a parking space, and backed into it.
Yes.
That was pretty stupid. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Why would you do such a stupid thing?
Because I was mad because it was another guy driving her car.
Mm-hmm. Are you back together again now?
No, we together.
With her?
Yes.
You with the defendant, Miss Cornell?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I gather you straightened it all out.
Mm-hmm.
That is a yes or a no?
Yes.
Uh-huh. How many times did you back her car into her car?
About twice.
Did you cause some damage to her car?
Yes.
How much damage?
I don't know how much damage was.
What do you do for a living?
I do the odds and ends.
What kind of odds and ends?
Paint, cut grass.
For cash?
Yes.
Hmm. Just you stay right there. What kind of car do you have?
A 92 Chevy Cavalier.
And you?
A 90 Chevy Cavalier.
Did you have your car fixed?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Now, Miss Smith, do you have any objection to my adding Albert here as a co-defendant in your lawsuit?
No.
You know what that means?
No.
That means that I'm adding you as a co-defendant in this lawsuit, sir. That means that since you have just acknowledged to me that you caused the damage to the car, right?
Yes.
You should pay for it. Why are you looking at me with that blank stare, sir? What words didn't you understand that I said? You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah. Because, Miss Smith, quite frankly, since they're back together again, I'm not going to get the truth out of him.
That's right.
Probably won't get the truth out of her.
Sure won't.
Because she was in the store.
I have a police report that she gave, since you won't get the truth out of me. She gave to the police an hour and something later after the accident. Her lie, since you can't get the truth out of me.
Miss Cornell, you don't understand, madam. Something is not getting through in your head. She wasn't in the car.
She said she was.
But you know she wasn't.
Okay, but she said she was.
What does that have to do with the damage to the car?
It has a lot to do with it. It has a whole lot to do with it. At the time of the accident, they were engaged. This was his fiance at the time of the accident. They had been broken up for 9 years prior
Just
to
do me a favor.
that.
Could you be quiet?
Yes, I can. I surely can.
Step down over there next to
I
your
surely
fiance.
can be quiet.
All
I
right.
surely can.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to change the story? Huh? It's not an answer. Hey, quiet.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Curtis Dean Smith says she loaned her ex-fiancé, Albert Johnson, her car. While Albert was driving, his new fiancée, Sharitha Cornell, smashed into it.
Can I see the estimate for the car, please?
Okay. Got it all.
The estimate for the car is $1,562, is that right?
That's without it being painted. That's just to pull the dent out the trunk and the side and fix the bumper.
It ain't even no dent in her trunk.
Have you been in my trunk?
It's not even a
Have
dent.
you been in my
Okay.
trunk?
Shh. What's all this other stuff here?
That's to fix the car and to paint it.
You have insurance in this car?
Yes, I do.
How much did you get from your insurance for this?
At the present moment, when the car was hit, there wasn't any insurance on the car.
What? Excuse me?
Yes. I had dropped the insurance 2 months before the accident happened.
I see. So the insurance doesn't become effective until the 16th of May, and this accident occurred on May 4th. Is that right?
That's right.
And you had no insurance on the car prior to this?
That's right.
Okay. Albert! You better do a lot more odd jobs, sir. Because you owe her for the damage that was done to her car. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good. Now, Miss Cornell, you have a counterclaim. For what?
Because she lied and told the police that I hit her car while she was driving the car and he was in the car. The officer contacted me and told me what she had said. Told me that I would be arrested for first-degree assault because there was assault on her and she was pressing charges. Of course, I got very angry. I got stressed out. I had to be hospitalized due to that. You know, her lying. You know, and me finding out that I was going to have to go to jail. I also was jailed. I had to pay for someone to keep my children due to her lies.
Just a second. You were jailed when, madam?
I was jailed on the 20th of May.
Let me see the papers to prove that.
And then right after that, 3 days later, she called me looking for Albert because he supposedly ran off with her car again.
What does
and
that have
she
to do
had
with
him
this?
locked up. She
What
had
does
him
that have
locked
to
up
do
for
with
running
this?
off in her car. I'm not
Listen,
talking to you
listen.
because you're
Talking to
not
you.
the
Hey,
judge.
listen.
Excuse me, Judge
I
Judy,
can't listen.
I apologize.
I can't listen.
I apologize.
Just
I
a second.
apologize,
Just
Your
a
Honor.
second. You told the police that you were in the car.
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
When Albert had called me and told me that Sharitha had hit my car, I told him to call the police. Albert said he had a warrant on him for his arrest, so I told him to bring me my car. We went down to the police station and made a report, and I said I was the driver. I also went back.
So you lied to the police?
Yes, I did.
Well, you were also asked by the police whether or not you wish to press charges against her.
And I said yes, I did, because she hit my car.
But not only did she hit your car with you in it and then took off. Isn't that what you said?
Yes, that's what I said.
That caused her to be arrested. Do you know that?
Yes.
Hmm?
But I also went back to the police station, tried to change the report, and I couldn't locate the officer, so I talked to his supervisor, and he said just tell the judge that.
Well, by the time you got to tell the judge, she had already been arrested. How long did you spend in jail?
A day, Your Honor, a whole night.
That was the wrong thing to do.
I
You
know.
understand that?
Yes.
You're suing her for $1,250, is that right?
That is.
All right, not a difficult case. Albert, you are going to pay her, the plaintiff, $2,604. Because that's what you said you caused in damage to her car. She doesn't have to pay for that if you're covering up for her and if she actually hit the car and you're covering for her, then it's going to cost you $2,600. You understand me?
You want to change the story? Huh?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I know you feel like crying.
State hospital, that's where she belongs.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
What? That's where you belong.
And later today,
Are you thick or what? There is a difference between your brother giving you a gift and a 17-year-old who you know has a crush on you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Albert Johnson borrowed his ex-fiancée, Curtis Dean Smith's car. She says that while he was driving, his current fiancée, Sharitha Cornell, ran into it.
You want to change the story?
No. No.
Okay. On the other hand, madam, it's going to cost you $1,250 because that's what she's suing for. You filed a false report. You two folks together?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Well, then this makes it easy. You're only going to get $1,444 for your car. Do you understand that?
Why is that?
That's because I am deducting the $1,250.
Cool with me.
Cool with you?
Cool with me.
Perfect. That's all. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,444. I have deducted what you owe her for filing this false claim because this lovely couple is now together. I'm
That's
treating
right.
them as a couple.
And I'm going to send you an invitation to our wedding.
All these ice cream, step out, please.
Make sure I put that in my date book.
She don't need that money to fix her car. She need that money to buy her a man.
And now the next case.
Parties on Gibbs versus Edwards. Step forward, please.
17-year-old supermarket clerk Noelle Gibbs and her father Stanley Gibbs are suing 21-year-old Alex Edwards for the shoes she bought him. Alex says Noelle had a crush on him and the shoes were a gift.
Mr. Gibbs, why don't you tell me, sir, why you are suing this gentleman for $140.70?
Yes, Your Honor. My daughter is under the age of 18. She's 17 years old.
That's you.
This is Noelle. And so I originally filed a suit ad litem as a guardian, being that she's underage. So the reason...
What is this for, sir?
The suit is for a pair of shoes that was purchased by my daughter from Sports Chalet in Valencia store for Mr. Edwards as a loan.
Why did you purchase a pair of shoes for him, Noelle?
He was hinting around that he needed a pair of shoes.
Where do you know him from?
He works at the store right next to where I work. I work at Thrifty's. He works at Vons.
Are you friends?
Well, yeah.
No.
We were friends. Yes, we were.
Shh.
Order.
He hinted around that he didn't have the money for the shoes and that he had them on hold at Sports Chalet. And I said, well, I could loan you the money, you know, and you could pay me back. And he said, first he said no, then the next day he goes, okay, and yes, he would. I can go get the shoes for him.
Is that what happened, sir?
No.
Well, let me hear what happened.
She's been harassing me she's had this high school crush for about 9 months. I made up every excuse in the world not to go out with her. She buys me some shoes. Right after she hands me the shoes, my witness is right here. She says, will you go out with me? I said, no. I said, I only have $4. Then she goes, I'll pay. I don't like her. I've never been her friend. I don't go by and see her. She comes by and sees me. I don't bother her.
Are those the shoes?
Yeah. Here.
Just a
no,
second.
They're not. Those are not the shoes.
Those are not the
no,
shoes?
They're not.
Hand them back.
Just a second. She bought your shoes.
These are the ones I got in the box.
Okay. Are they your size?
Yes.
How did she know your size?
I think she asked me, actually. Yeah.
Well, tell me the circumstances surrounding her asking you about your shoe size.
She's always asked me if I'd go out with her. She finally got her truck back from her dad. So I said no, because I'm saving up for some shoes. She said, what if I buy you the shoes? Can we go out? I said, well, I'll think about it. So I did get the shoes. And I thought about it and I said no.
Just a minute. You still didn't tell me how she got your shoe size.
I didn't think she would get the shoes, so I said, yeah, I wear size 11 if you want to go get them. The ones I want are Sports Chalet.
Okay.
She comes to my job with the shoes.
Okay.
I really didn't think she would get it. I thought it was just like a joke. I didn't think she would really do it.
Okay.
And then,
did you agree to pay her back for the shoes?
No.
He didn't agree to pay you back for the shoes.
Yes, he did.
Well, there's no question. He got the shoes. The only question is, were they a gift or were they a loan?
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
you, sir, make it clear to me that you have no interest romantically in this young lady. Is that right?
I'm not her friend. I'm not nothing.
Just
I never
listen.
liked her nothing.
Hey.
Okay,
Right?
yes.
By accepting a gift from her, assuming it was a gift, you are encouraging her. Do you understand that? Oh yeah, what does that mean?
You know,
do you hey, do you understand that, Mr. Edwards?
Yes, okay.
And that's unfair. By accepting a gift, you did the wrong thing. Right?
I don't think so, not really. I mean,
then I'm going to
if my brother gave me a gift, then, I mean, do I owe him also?
Excuse me? Who gave you a gift?
If my brother gives me a gift, I mean, I can't stop her from doing, I mean, I can stop that.
are you thick or what? Are you thick or what? There is a difference between your brother giving you a gift and
I
a
never let her-
17-year-old.
I've told her many
Hey, you're
times.
talking over me and I have a bad throat
Okay,
today.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's a difference between your brother giving you a gift and a 17-year-old who you know has a crush on you. You encouraged her, even by your own statement when you said to me, she told you, well, if I buy you the shoes, will you go out with me? That's what you told me,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And instead of you saying, absolutely not, you said, we'll see, maybe. Isn't that what you just told me, sir?
Yes, yes.
So you encouraged her. A, that's cruel. B, by taking a gift, you made it not only cruel, but there's a certain insensitivity there and greediness that I don't like. So you are going to pay her $140.70. You have the receipt for the
I do.
shoes? Is that what the bill was?
Yes. It's,
$140.70. Got it? Good. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She was
I
trying
did
to
not
buy me.
ask
She
him
should
to
have
go
went and
out
got
with
a
me.
prostitute.
No,
If
I
she
did
wanted
not.
all that, she could have got
Excuse me?
herself a prostitute. If I buy you the shoes, will you go out with me?
I did
That's
not
what you said.
say
That's
that.
What, they put this kind of effort into a Stairmaster,
did
they would be
not.
fine.
Year-old Mary Sauter met 29-year-old Brian Visner on a softball team. She loaned him money, and when they split, she says he kept using her credit cards.
Order. All rise. It's number 48 on the calendar, Judge, in the matter of Sauter versus Visner. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am.
Ms. Sauter, according to your papers, you met the defendant in April of
Correct.
1995. Began dating in May of the same year.
Correct.
And by the middle or the end of the summer, you had loaned him about $1,500.
Thereabouts. Probably more than that, but that's what I'm alleging at this point.
Why?
Well, I met Brian, and we really had a lot of mutual interest together in regards to softball and such. And
You met him at a softball game, according to your papers.
yeah, we played co-rec softball together. Co-rec, men, women. Okay, half. All right. And during Memorial Weekend, in fact, we even went down to Chicago for the weekend and had a great time. Came back, and Brian really, truly, I knew was going through a lot of hard times. Had gone through several jobs, different changes in jobs. Brian has 2 children, great boys, and he was in arrears in regards to child support and is trying to get his feet back on the ground. And I truly believed at that point he was trying hard to get his feet back on the ground in regards to a new job.
But why did you give him money?
Because with his initiative, and I saw his motivation in regards to his job, that possibly, I mean, he promised to pay it back.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was, when I originally met her, I was working for my father in construction. And
That sounds as if it could be a long-term proposition. What happened?
well, we got slow, so I went on to started a maintenance company to do some work, and times were hard, but I never asked for anything.
You took?
No, I never asked for anything from
No,
her.
I didn't say asked. I
She
said, but
offered-
you took.
She offered, I took.
Okay. Tell me what you gave him.
Originally, he was asking for little amounts of money, you know, here or there. Hey, $20, $40, I'll get it back to the end of the week. Not a problem. I don't even have a recollection of that.
Okay.
Okay. The first time really that he asked for a significant amount of money was the end of June. And in fact, I wrote a check out to him, which I have, for $350.
What was that for?
He needed money to pay his July rent in bills.
Is that right, sir?
No.
What do you mean no? It's made out to you.
She gave me cash. She wrote out
She
a
didn't
check. I cashed it. And I didn't use it for, I never said anything about rent or anything like that.
Well, what'd you use it for?
Just going out, doing stuff.
What else?
I mean, he didn't even have money to go to work. Okay, so I didn't want that to happen. Okay, because for him, for his kids, you know, my good heart that I wanted to help him.
And you thought you had a future together.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Right. You know, and things were going good.
Okay.
You know, that I thought that I knew.
Your Honor.
And so at that point, I extended out an Amico credit card to him, and I said, "Here, Brian. Now listen. Anything that you use, it's your responsibility. Okay, we're going to get through the tough times, but here's the card. I'm keeping track, you keep track, and let's go with it." He went with it. He went all out on it.
You mean you had the Amico company put a credit card in his name?
He was an authorized signer on my account.
Oh, okay.
Which ended real quick.
Not quick enough according to your complaint.
Correct.
How much did he charge up on your credit card?
$700 on the credit card.
Yeah, okay. According to your complaint, there came a time when you told him, "Hey, Brian, give me back the credit card.
Right.
I'm ripping it up.
Correct.
Cutting it in half. You're not entitled to it anymore. Don't use it anymore."
Right.
When was that?
I threw an extravagant birthday party for him. Just a gala event. Blackjack tables, kegs of beer, decorations, food, okay? We were having a good time, you know, people were having a great time.
So what happened?
All of a sudden, I looked, he's gone. He left. He left his own party. Left his van there, okay? And went with a bunch of his friends and took off.
Okay,
Didn't hear from him.
So you got angry, and that's when the romance was over.
Correct. That was it. That was the final straw.
All right. When did you get your credit card back?
The next day, I called Amico, and I said, "No more." All right? I called him, and I said, "Brian, no more." And
But did he continue to charge on your credit card after that?
He continued to charge after I found that Amico received a phone call, and he continued to authorize service on my card after he got my Social Security number.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Did you continue to use the card after she told you not to?
I went up to the pump to use it, and it was done. And I couldn't
Sir.
use it anymore, and then I threw it away.
So, listen.
There was never a call
listen.
from... Yes.
I asked you a simple question. After she told you not to use the card anymore, which was after your birthday party in July of '95?
Correct.
You continued to use the card.
From what I recollect is that it was not right after my birthday. It was it had to be 3 weeks to a month later.
Had you been dating each other during that 3 or 4 week period?
She had got me into a golf tournament.
After your birthday?
After my birthday.
Can I see the Amico bills,
Yes.
please?
They start from 7/21 on.
And my birthday's 7/18.
Sir, you used this card until the end of December.
That's when I got a call that it was done. That's when she called me to tell me it was done. It wasn't in July
even
or
according
August.
to you, sir, it was maybe 3 or 4 weeks after your birthday party in July. That would bring us up into August. You used her card big time. September, October, November, December. That's outrageous.
2-3 times a day.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Well, it was wrong.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Friday night softball games, I'd go into my bag after softball was done, and there'd be $200-300 in there. In an envelope.
And later
Well,
today,
now you'll know better. You don't move in with somebody unless you love them, unless you're prepared to have aggravation.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. After Mary Sauter met Brian Visner playing softball, he borrowed money and used her credit card. They split. Now she wants the money back.
Why do you think you don't owe her this money? So far, we're up to $1,050.
Why don't I think I owe her the money? It's because she had done things through this whole relationship. The trip to Chicago was just I came home from work on a Saturday, and she called that Saturday afternoon and said, "You want to go to Chicago? I'm buying. Let's go have some fun." I said, "Well,
Fine. Wait, I haven't even talked about Chicago. I'm talking about the $350 she gave you for rent.
I have no clue what that was for. I mean, I don't think it was for rent. I really don't.
I don't care if you bought $350 worth of bubble gum with it. The idea is she gave you the money. What you did with it is your business. I'm
Right.
sure she didn't give you this check because you said, I want to buy bubble gum. She gave you this check because you said you were in dire straits for money.
I was really never in dire straits for money. I was always working. I always had money.
All right. I'm up to $1,050, madam.
Yes.
You have any other checks that you say
Yes,
that
I
you
did.
can prove debt?
Yes. This is the other check that I have this is for cash. And he went to the bank with me because he didn't have a bank account, and I got straight cash for him.
Do you remember that, sir?
No. No, I don't.
Remember what this was for?
Cash.
But what did he need the money for in June? June 8th?
Probably like what he did on the amicable card, cigarettes and whatever else he had. I mean, if he says he's having money on his own, I have no idea. He went up to the, I like to gamble too, but he's out to Mystic Lake, a gambling facility, when he doesn't even have money. He's probably using my money to gamble with.
Well, the memo on this, sir, is clearly, it says for you for cash.
I make all notes on
I'm
my
sure
checks.
it does. She probably wrote it out, cashed it, got the cash, and put that on there. That's fine. I don't remember receiving a check for that or
You
any
didn't get a
cash
check
for
for
that.
cash. You mean to tell me you have no memory of getting cash from her?
Not for that. No.
For what?
For any. I mean, I do remember getting cash from her at other times.
Like how much?
Friday night softball games. I'd go into my bag after softball was done, and there'd be $200-300 in there, in an envelope. I never asked for it, and then she'd put her name on there. Yes, this is from me. So I'd take it. I'd spend it. I don't say what I did was right. It was wrong. But
I've been a judge for a long time. What always strikes me as being interesting, for want of a better word, is that there are usually more women standing in your place and usually more men standing in his place than there are vice versa. Mm-hmm. When are women going to wise up?
I have.
When are women going to wise up? You don't know somebody 4 weeks and then give them money.
I have. I mean, I've been guilty of it for all my whole life. I was a good heart.
Your
That
Honor.
was it, and I've learned.
You ought to stop.
Well, believe
Your
me, I
Honor.
have a fiance now that gives me money, and we have everything together.
Your Honor.
What?
I'm not the first person that she's done this to. There's 3 or 4 other guys before me that she's done the same thing
You
for.
mean been very generous with?
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this
Very
question,
generous.
sir. When did you find that out?
After I started seeing Mary.
In what? You mean in May?
Well, maybe a few weeks after that.
Few weeks
after the trip.
All right.
After the trip to Chicago.
Hey, talking. Few weeks after that, I want you to tell me how it came about that you found out that she had been generous with men friends before.
Other guys on the softball team that we played on.
And I usually don't accept hearsay, but the conversation was you going out with Mary and she's pretty generous with her money?
The conversation was, what did you do last week? And I said, Mary took me to Chicago. Well, she
Yeah.
likes to do that for the guys that she's seeing. She likes to spend money on them and treat them nice.
How lovely.
Your Honor?
Don't say anything else.
Okay.
Don't say anything else with the exception of learning the words, almost like a mantra. I'm sorry I don't lend money to people that I know for such a short time.
Guilty.
Right. Guilty. Guilty. You owe her $1,500. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She said a lot of things. I took advantage of her, and I don't disagree with that. That's what Mary does for a living. She sues people.
And now the next case.
Party's on Magid versus Miller. Step forward, please.
27-year-old Sandy Magid is suing her roommate, John Miller, claiming he was violent and verbally abusive.
How long did you know each other before you decided to room together?
10 years.
Why did you decide to room together?
Because we were friends, and he needed to move out of his place because he had a dog, and I moved out of my parents' house.
You weren't romantically involved, you were just friends.
Right.
Now, under this rather bizarre arrangement, reading the complaint, you were supposed to perform certain maid services in the house, like keeping the house nice and clean, doing the cleaning, the cooking, the washing, and he would pay all of the expenses with the exception of your phone bill. Is that the idea?
And the rent. I paid rent.
And you paid the rent, but he would pay everything else.
Yeah, but that only lasted for 2 months. And then we talked about it, and it wasn't working, so we each decided to
After 8 months.
take care of our own thing.
I paid all the bills for 8 months.
But, you know, he wouldn't clean up after himself if he left something. He'd just leave the sauce on a table. He wouldn't do normal maintenance. He'd give his dog a shower and have hair all over the place and water all over the floor. I mean, he didn't even pick up after himself.
It's not true.
Right! And I got one of those home.
Yeah.
And I pay half the rent.
Yeah.
Miss Magid, I don't like cleaning up after my husband, and I love him. You made an arrangement to clean up after this man, and after a while, you didn't even like him. Not too smart.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Could I talk about the pain and suffering?
No.
Okay,
You don't,
and
sir,
then
you don't look like you're in pain, and you don't look like you're suffering
mental anguish. If I
Mental
told you
anguish.
what she
Oh.
put me through.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandy Magid is suing her former roommate, John Miller, for verbal abuse and destruction of property. John is countersuing for mental anguish.
It's always smart for women to pay their own way.
But we had...
If you, listen to me, if you pay your own way, then you don't have to take anybody's guff. Right, Bert?
Absolutely.
All right, so he didn't clean up after himself.
And I cleaned for about 2 months, and then I paid the other half of the bills.
It was only the utility bills. I would pay all the utility bills if she would do the cleaning, because I paid Sandy in my last apartment $50 to clean the place.
And I did.
And she did a great cleaning job. That's why I thought I'd work out this deal with her. The place would stay clean, and I would pay all the bills.
Well, staying clean is one thing, but you know, you can't be.
No, I
but she
wasn't
says you were
overdoing it.
being
No,
a
she would
slob.
never clean. Nothing.
Huh?
That's
She
not
never
true.
cleaned a thing.
All right, so you should have moved out after 2 months. You should have gone your own separate ways after 2
Yeah,
months.
well, we were
Would
friends
you-
for 10 years.
Would you mind telling me what you're suing each other for? You have a suit, you have a
Yeah.
countersuit. You want to tell me what you're suing him for?
I'm suing for my print and my frame here because he threw something at it and broke it.
Can I see it?
Yes.
He admits that he threw something at it and broke it, right?
Yeah.
Why were you mad at her
Well,
picture?
that was the last straw. That was when I had paid all the bills and done the cleaning. Her dog had chewed up my sofa. And then I gave her all the money to pay the bills, and she went on vacation with the money, and I got disconnect notices. I had to pay the bills again. When I called her up and told her, she says, "What do I care if they were turned off? I'm moving out anyways." A moment later, when I hung up the phone, that's when I smashed the picture.
All right, you see,
'Cause she
you
was
smashed
moving
the
out.
picture, but that's just the glass on the picture,
That's
madam.
right.
No, it's also that there's scratches on the print.
Would you
and
show
the-
me where, please?
Right there. And right here, it devalued the thing, and right, it messed up the mat.
Well, the mat
and the frame is all scratched.
Just a second. How much did you pay for that?
For the frame and the picture.
For everything.
$920.
$920?
Yeah.
Where did you buy that?
At the Wing Gallery.
Do you like this picture, sir?
Yeah.
Give it to him.
Yeah, he can have it.
All right.
All right. What else are you suing him for?
All right.
I'm also
a couple
suing
bucks for it.
for
I feel like I'm running a tag sale here.
the last month and a half of rent because I wasn't there, because he
Oh, my
was
fault.
throwing
Just a
things and
second.
being angry.
Just a second. Did you leave?
Yes.
You don't get that. What's next?
I had to pay for the last months of rent, and I wasn't even staying there.
But you left. I mean, you agreed to rent this apartment together, right?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
So you have a responsibility to pay until the end of your lease. So that you don't get.
It was
What else are you
months
suing
and
for?
months. Pain and suffering, because, I mean, he would just verbally abuse me, and...
You're not married to each other. If you're not getting along with your roommate, then
But,
you're
I
not
mean,
getting
you
along
know,
with
he'd
your roommate.
leave that place a mess constantly. I mean, it was just like I couldn't win.
Well, now you'll know better. You don't move in with somebody unless you love them, unless you're prepared to have aggravation.
But I couldn't stay there because I
You
was,
say you couldn't stay there. You don't like
there.
You weren't getting along, madam. You weren't getting along. You knew each other for 10 years.
He
You
was
weren't getting along. You
throwing
moved out.
stuff and yelling.
Oh, God. What are you suing her for, sir?
She was supposed to clean the house, which she didn't do. So I'm suing $640, which is half the utility bills, which I should get back.
Because you don't like the way she kept the house.
She didn't clean the place at all. I would do any cleaning.
Good. That's why you're not together anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so
All
that's
right.
part of mine.
Just a second. What's the other part? Your pain and suffering. I saw your pain and suffering too. Everybody's got pain and suffering.
That's really a big part of my case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Sir, you don't look like you're in pain, and you don't look like you're suffering
Mental anguish.
anymore.
If I
Mental
told you what
anguish.
she put me through, can I mention a few things?
Mention a few things.
Okay, let's put it this way. After she lost her job, she had a really bad mental breakdown. She went to counseling on Prozac. Next thing I know, every time I would take a shower, she'd run the hot water in the kitchen so I wouldn't have any hot water.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, just like you told me to lock your mother in the walk-in closet.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Miller, is there
I have a
anything
lot
else
of
you
little
want?
things like that are sad and ridiculous, you know.
Sounds like what married people do to each other.
Yeah.
You count the suit as dismissed, sir. You just bought a picture for $920. Judgment in the case is for the plaintiff. Hang the picture, put a piece of glass. It's really very nice.
All right.
Parties are excused. You may step out. I'll be back to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She didn't keep her end of the agreement. You know, I'm paying all the bills, and she's turned the place into a pigsty. She was continuing cleaning other people's homes. She said, I have to clean that person's home for $50. Then she wanted me to pay her to clean up her own mess.
I don't hate him. We just didn't get along as roommates.
Yeah, it sometimes happens when you live together, but it's sad after 10 years of friendship it had to come down to this.
Responsible for the damage to the vehicle.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. All rise. Judges, number 220 on the calendar, the matter of Coleman versus Smith. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
All right, Miss Coleman, you say that Mr. Smith stole your car.
Yes.
He said he borrowed it with your permission. In any event, the car, something happened to it, it was damaged. You want to get paid?
Yes.
So first let's start on the 27th of June, which is when this whole thing came down, I understand. He took the keys from your house.
Yes.
Tell me how that happened.
I had got home from work early this day, and the maintenance man, name is Derek, asked me if I could run him and Mr. Smith up to cash their check.
He was a neighbor of yours?
Yes, he's a neighbor. And so I did this and came back home, and I knew I was going out that evening, so I came in to change, to get ready. So while I was in the house changing, Mr. Smith rang my bell. I asked who it was, and it was him. He responded, so I went to the door and let him in. So we were down there talking, and I noticed that I have a countertop in my living room that the keys were laying there. So I went back upstairs and told him that I was getting ready to go out that evening, and I left him downstairs. So anyway, as I got ready to come back down to leave, I noticed that my keys weren't on the counter anymore. So I figured, well, maybe I took them back upstairs. And I went back upstairs, and I didn't see the keys up there either. And I checked all in my pocketbook, and I couldn't find the keys.
Didn't find the keys? So did you call the police?
I called the police that evening because I waited to see maybe he would bring the car back. So I waited and waited, and I did finally call the police and report the car stolen that evening.
Now, that was June 27th?
June 27th.
When did you get the car back?
My niece found the car June 29th, which was a Sunday.
And what was the condition of the car when it was found?
Trying to move the car wouldn't move.
Okay, so it was damaged.
So it was damaged.
Well, he acknowledges that the car was damaged while you were driving it, sir. Now, why don't you tell me your version of how you got possession of these keys?
Ms. Coleman and I, we live 2 doors apart from each other.
Had you been friends before this happened?
Yes, we were. Yes, we were. We were also seeing each other.
No,
and
we weren't,
probably
Your Honor.
starting what I would call the start of a relationship.
What do you mean?
She and I had spent time in each other's house a couple of times, having dinner, ice cream, these sort of things.
That's nice.
I've used the car before, and I've driven a car and brought it back.
With her permission?
With her permission. I had asked her, could I use the car to make an errand to my mother's house? My mother lives in walking distance, 10 minutes, and driving, it's 2 minutes. The car was parked 4 blocks away from my mother's house.
Just a second. You asked her if, according to you, you asked her if you could ride to an errand to your mother's house.
Yes, I did.
You didn't tell me what she said.
She said yes. She gave me the keys, which was a full set of keys. At that time...
And you intended to be back in...
In moments, because she had told me she...
You intended to be back in moments,
Mm-hmm.
and you knew she was going out.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
She gave me the keys. Her and the landlord were standing on the pavement, talking, as I got into the car and exited the block. About 5 minutes into the journey after the car, I stopped at the intersection. I tried to engage the shifter to go on. The car wouldn't move. It
All
didn't
right,
respond.
you knew at that point, to make a long story a little shorter, you knew at that point that there was something wrong with the car.
Yes.
What did you do then?
I had a friend who was with me.
Which friend was with you?
A gentleman I picked up.
Just a second. A gentleman you picked up where?
This was on the block of my mother's house. The
Who
street
was
where
that?
my mother lived at.
Who was that?
It was a gentleman named Boo.
Boo.
Right.
Does Boo have a last name?
Boo Rogers, yes he does.
What'd you pick up Boo for?
He was going in the same direction I was coming back. So I was giving him a lift.
So what you're saying to me was you had already been at your mother's house.
Yes.
So you did the errand at your mother's house already. You sure about that?
Yes.
Go ahead. And you're on your way back with Boo in the car.
Right.
Go ahead.
The car broke down at the intersection. We both got out. We pushed the car. At that time, I'm not knowing too much about cars. I asked him. He didn't know too much about cars. So I went to a payphone. I called a friend who did know about cars. He came and checked the car out. He told me, Mike...
Why didn't you call her?
Well, at that particular time, I wanted to see what was wrong with the car.
Now listen, Mr. Smith, let's talk logic here, sir. You said you were going to be back in 2 minutes. You knew she was going out. Now you're out for well beyond 2 minutes. You pick up Boo. Then you call one friend. The person that you don't call is the person whose car it is, who has to go out, and you know that she was going out. So I don't understand why you didn't pick up the phone and say, I'm going to try to fix the car. I'm having some trouble with it.
I agree with you.
Good. I'm glad you do. It makes me feel better. Go ahead.
Thank you. So the gentleman came, and we looked at the car, and he told me that the clutch was dry. It needed hydraulic clutch fluid.
Okay, so then what did you do?
Well, we tried
Now we're looking for fluid.
Right.
We got Boo and we got fluid.
Exactly. I tried to get the fluid.
How did you try to get the fluid, sir?
We went to an auto supply store.
And how far away from where the car was?
It was a
that?
distance.
How about how far, sir?
10-minute ride.
How'd you get there?
In his car. The gentleman who came to look at the car, who was a
Just
mechanic.
a minute. Let me understand this. All this time you haven't called her yet.
No, I haven't.
Keep going.
That was it.
And so what'd you do?
Upon not getting the car started, again, I did not call her. I went home. I tried to contact her then.
How did you try to contact her?
By calling her on the phone.
And what happened?
I got no answer.
I'm having too good a time with this, please. So you tried to contact her, you called her, and there was no answer.
Exactly.
So I assume you wrote out a note.
No, I did not.
Because you're right next
No,
door.
I
You
did
wrote
not.
out a note and you say, don't worry about your car, it broke down, here's where it's located. You went and tacked it on a door.
No, I did not.
No, you did not.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The reason why I sued him for that because...
to teach him a lesson.
Yes.
And later today,
So you made trouble between her and her son. You were a pig about the money that you won. You really are nasty.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 39-year-old Vanessa Coleman says Theodore Smith stole her car and returned it 2 days later with extensive damages. Theodore says Vanessa gave him permission to take the car and denies any responsibility for the damage.
It's not really urgently important, Miss Coleman. Listen to me. It's not urgently important whether he drove the car with or without your permission. He's responsible for the damage to your car. Now, I don't think he can look me in the eye and deny that, right, sir?
I agree with you.
Right. So, did you have the car fixed?
Oh, yes.
Let me see the repair bill. When did you finally tell her where the car was?
Never.
I didn't. The car was recovered Sunday morning. I woke up, came out, the car was in front of her house.
Weren't you curious as to how she found it?
Not really. No. No.
I don't understand these bills, Miss Coleman.
Okay,
let's understand.
I don't understand them either, young.
The short bill is the actual estimate that all the damages that I had done to the car. The other estimate is just for the damage that he did, which was to the clutch and the shifter.
Well, $460. Is that what you paid for the damage that he did?
I paid $945.
Yeah, but you know, you're not talking about a wheel alignment and front brakes.
See, I didn't
and outer
charge him.
seats.
I didn't charge him for that. I just charged him for the clutch and the shifter.
But she's suing me for $945.
Just a second.
And the reason why I sued him for that because
to teach him a lesson.
Yes, he denied. he denied to pay me anything except for the $60 he gave me.
He gave you $60?
He gave me $60.
What'd you give her $60 for, sir?
The first day that this had happened and she told me she was putting the car in the shop, I said, okay, I'm going to give you some money to start on. This is initial payment. Give me a receipt and I'll pay the rest gladly.
Right.
She never gave me a receipt. She refused to give me a receipt. This happened
All right, got it. Listen, Miss Coleman. He has to pay for the damage he did on the car. If I could add on a couple of bucks for bad manners, you know, I would do that, but that's not what we're about.
Yes.
He's got to pay for the damage he did to the car, $460.
Yes.
And I would suggest to you, if you ever made a loan to him of your car or anything else that you value.
Never, Ann.
What?
Never.
Right.
You know it.
Thank you very much. That's all.
Party's not excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
I'll be back to you right.
Thank you.
And now the next case.
Party's on Travis versus Hood. Step forward, please.
Avid bingo player, 57-year-old Fanny Travis, is suing her son's girlfriend, Betty Hood, claiming they made a deal to split a $10,000 bingo jackpot if either of them won. Betty denies they had any agreement.
Miss Travis, you are an avid bingo player.
Yes, I am.
And the defendant used to be your friend.
My son's girlfriend.
According to your complaint, you were playing bingo one night back in August.
Yeah.
And you played together, you and the defendant, and your daughter.
My daughter.
And a couple of other people.
Not the one, not her. She's not here.
Another daughter.
Another daughter.
And then there was advertised a super bingo party for September.
Yes.
And you had to buy packs of $50 worth of bingo cards.
That's right.
So you say you bought packs of cards for several people, including the defendant.
That's right.
And it was your agreement with her that what?
If anybody won, I would get half of the winning.
And then she won.
She won.
$10,000.
Right.
Bingo. She gave you $1,000.
Right.
And said, I'm not giving you any more.
No, she never said that.
What did she say?
The people at the bingo was going to count me the $5,000. You only get $5,000 that night. The next $5,000 we had to come back that Monday. It was on a Saturday night. So they was finna give me the money because the bingo staff knew I had bought all the cards. I told them to count it to her. At the time, they counted out $1,000. She gave me the $1,000, and they gave me the slip and told me to come back Monday and pick up the rest of the money. And in the car, I gave her the slip and told her to wait. Monday, I'll go with you, and I want the rest of my money.
All right, you gave her the slip.
And told her in the car, I gave her the slip and told her I would go with her Monday and pick up the rest of my money.
Okay, so you said, I'll go with you Monday.
And pick up the rest of the money.
Okay, and what happened?
She dodged me all day Monday. I was at bingo waiting on her. She went out late Monday night. Had my grandkids tell me that Dad and Betty told us not to tell you that they gone to bingo. So she went out and picked up the money. When I got my son Monday night on the phone, he made a statement, you made $1,000 profit off of her. I said that was not the agreement. She made a $9,000 profit off of me because we were supposed to split. So that I finally got her Tuesday night and asked her for my money. She said, I spent it. And I said, no, I want my money. You knew it wasn't all yours to spend. Then I called my son. He came up the next day, which was a Tuesday. I went and filed a claim on her. Then my son came up to the house the first time in his 33-year-old life, cursed me like a dog, saying that if I go through with it, he wasn't going to be my son no more.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're not a very nice young lady. She didn't know you a thing. Who are you to her? Nobody.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Fanny Travis says she made a deal with Betty Hood that they would split a $10,000 bingo jackpot if either of them won. Betty denies they had any such arrangement and feels she was being generous by giving Fanny $1,000 of her winnings.
Before she got the bingo cards, according to you and according to your daughter, you told her that if you win, half is mine.
Yes.
Is that correct? Before she had the cards in her possession.
Correct.
Okay, Betty, let's hear your version of this.
When she won that $2,500 that night, she was giving me and her daughter $100, and she sent out that $100, that $50 go for that package. I did not hear no split winning. And now she's saying for that when I won the $10,000 that they gave her the receipt, they did not give her the receipt. I signed for that receipt that night. That's the only way that money came to me. I had the receipt in my belongings.
Well, my question is, you say that the previous month she won some money.
Yes.
And very generously gave you $100. Only gave you $50 in cash and then bought the other packet for the other $50.
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm. Did that happen?
No. I only gave her 50. She didn't even know I was buying these packs. She never knew I was buying these packs until 3 weeks later.
That's very generous of you to give them anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to give them anything. Why did you give her $1,000?
Just being generous.
You had a conversation with the plaintiff that night, the night that you won the $10,000, correct?
Correct.
And she made it clear to you, after you won, let's not say before, after you won, that she expected half of your winnings. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you say to her that night, I'm not going to give you half the winnings?
No, I said, you must be joking.
No. Let me ask you this question, Ms. Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Does this sound familiar? That when you were leaving that night, and she said to you that should anybody win with cards that she bought, there would be a 50-50 split. And you said, we ain't gonna win no way anyway. Does that sound familiar to you?
I say that all the time.
I asked you on that night, did that sound familiar to you?
Okay, what was the question again?
You said, we ain't gonna win no way anyway.
Right.
Isn't that what you said?
Right.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You're not a very nice young lady. Miss Hood, first of all, you've made trouble between this lady and her son.
No, I did not.
Oh, sure you did. Oh, sure you did. First of all, just by being there that night, by breathing that night in September, you were coming away $5,000 richer. You didn't make an investment. You didn't buy the cards. You didn't plan the evening. Nothing. She gave it to you. And she was generous to you at other times, too. She'll know you a thing. Except that you're the mother of at least one of her grandchildren. So she was being nice to you. And I assume she's a generous lady anyway. So you made trouble between her and her son. You were a pig about the money that you won. Absolutely did the wrong thing. And Miss Hood, life has a strange way of coming up and biting you in the back if you do the wrong thing. What you did over money, by destroying this little family, she had a son who she never had a harsh word with. And I assume she did other things. She ever babysit for you?
Yes.
You had to run to the doctor or something? Had to run someplace else? She took care of your son? Yes?
Yes.
You really are nasty. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff for the amount of $4,000. You already got your $1,000? $4,000. That's all.
Party's excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Like I tried to tell her, she knew it was wrong, and she knew I had been nice to her. And like all she had to do was give me another $1,000 and clear it up. She wouldn't do that.
I don't have nothing to say. I do not have nothing to say. I still don't have nothing to say. Nothing at all.
She has nothing to say.
She has nothing to say.
Nothing she can say.
Courtroom, please. All rise. Sir. Judge, this is number 191 on the calendar in the matter of Tracy versus Jackson. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Miss Tracy, your complaint reads like a short novel, but let me see if I understand it. This used to be your boyfriend?
Yes.
And then you broke up. Is that right?
Yes.
When you broke up with this gentleman, your name is Steve?
Yes, that's right.
You became involved with someone by the name of?
Greg Schwartz.
Greg. Then you moved in with Greg and that didn't work out, correct?
Correct.
Then you got back together with?
Steve.
Steve. Mm-hmm. And moved some of your furniture into his apartment.
Correct.
Pick it up from there.
I moved my furniture into his house because I needed a place to store it. Steve offered his house to store it with no problem. So I...
Well, just a second. You not only moved your furniture into the house, am I correct that you moved yourself into the house?
No, I did not.
Just your furniture?
Correct.
So you didn't stay at his house at all?
I did stay at his house, but not permanently. I used his house for storage of my furniture. I lived with my grandparents at their home.
Okay. So you weren't dating him at that point when you moved your furniture back into the house?
Yes, I did. Yes, we were.
So you were? You had renewed your relationship with him?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I moved my things into his house because he said it was okay. It was only a temporary situation until I decided to move back out again and take my things. And after spending a few months with him, we both realized that our relationship wasn't working out, and I broke it off with him. He became upset and angry and destroyed my furniture and belongings.
What furniture did he destroy, Tracy?
I have estimates and pictures.
Just tell me.
My couches, my bed, my VCR. I brought my VCR here for you to see. My comforter, my lamps. There's a garage door involved here, but that's later. My dining room table and my patio furniture. And
okay, did you get any of your things back?
Yes, I recovered damaged property as well as what wasn't damaged.
What wasn't damaged?
My desk, and I would have to say that's about it.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Now, I read your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct, sir, that you do not deny destroying this furniture?
That's correct.
Okay,
Not all.
let's start with why you destroyed it.
Okay, the first thing why is because she did not call it off. What actually happened was I found out that she was doing something behind my back with the same gentleman that we moved the furniture out of his house.
So you found out, according to you, that the plaintiff, Miss Tracy, was seeing Mr. Schwartz again.
That's right.
And that made you?
Upset, angry. That happened in June of '97. It was found out on June 20th. Confronted her about it. She lied time and time again, even though I knew that I saw her car at his house. I left a note on her car. I'm sure she didn't bring that with her today.
So you found her car in front of his house. What were you doing in front of his house?
Driving by to work.
You didn't have to go out of your way in order to do
not
that?
at all.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I have to...
Just a second. I'll get back to you. So you left a note on her car?
Right.
Saying that caught you, something like that?
Basically.
All right. But that wasn't enough. Then you got very angry.
No, actually after that, I confronted her about it. After a couple days of lying to me, she finally admitted it. And then we were still talking with each other about it. I can't really say if we were together or not. And about a month after that, I was just upset one night and got sick of seeing the stuff that she gave me at my house. Had the dining room table in my dining area and got upset and just didn't want it anymore. And that's why I destroyed it. I did not want to see it anymore. I didn't want it in my house anymore. I didn't want to have anything to do with her anymore.
Tell me how you destroyed it.
Some of the chairs that were broken were kind of already broken because they were, like, if you step on the chair or if you rest your foot on one of the wooden rests.
I mean, that you pick up the furniture and fling it and hit it? All right, so you destroyed it.
Yeah.
Wasn't just the dining room table and
It was
chairs.
a dining room table and chairs, a couch.
How did you destroy the couch?
Threw it off my balcony. Because it was up in my bedroom, because she gave me some of the furniture.
We'll get to the giving because that's your defense to this action. You say she gave you all this furniture.
Right.
And therefore it was yours to destroy. Tell me how she gave you the furniture, Mr. Jackson.
In March, the middle of March of this year, '97, we were together. She came over to my house one day, found out that her ex-boyfriend was cheating on her.
This same Mr. Schwartz.
Found out he was cheating on her, got really mad, decided to go to his condo where she had her furniture, and I offered to help move the stuff out along with two of my roommates, who we all have trucks, so we decided to go over there. And one day we moved all the stuff out of the garage, out of the townhouse. And I asked her, where do you want to put this? She said, well, I don't even want this stuff. Why don't you want it? It reminds me of him. And I go, well, if you don't want it, then, you know, what are you going to do with it? She said, do you want to take it? I go, I don't want all this stuff. It had couches, a table, lamp, and some personal items, kitchenware and a mattress, Christmas ornaments. I go, I don't want all this stuff. But the stuff that I can use, fine, I'll take. Dining room table, a couple couches, a lamp, and that's it. Everything else went in my garage.
What about the VCR over there that's got a big dent in it?
That was not for me. I don't know how she can justify me doing that. She had the VCR. She had it in my house, but I did not touch her VCR.
You mean when you were destroying all the other stuff, you didn't just happen one of the couches or the dining room table and chairs or something didn't plop itself on that VCR?
I didn't walk into the closet and look for a VCR just to destroy. She didn't have her stuff out in my house. She
I
had
understand that. Somebody destroyed that.
I don't know who.
You were in a rage. Is that a fair statement,
That could be a good statement, yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He couldn't handle the fact that I didn't want to be with him anymore. He was drunk. And he was drunk. But, I mean, it's apparent that he has a drinking problem.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Steve Jackson admits he flew into a rage when he found out his girlfriend, Kathy Tracy, was spending time with her ex-boyfriend. But he says the property he destroyed belonged to him, and Tracy has no grounds for this lawsuit.
Mr. Jackson, I find it difficult. She says that she just stored her stuff at your house while she was looking for another place. I don't think that you develop a sentimental attachment for furniture that reminds you of another boyfriend. That doesn't make sense. Common sense suggests to me that a couch is a couch, and a dining room table and chairs is a dining room table and chairs. And just because an old boyfriend ate off of it or sat on it doesn't mean that you don't want to look at it anymore, sir. Because if she was dating you again, she was still going to look at the furniture, right? If it was in your house, and she was going to be looking at the same furniture that Schwartz sat on and ate off of. So why would she say, I don't want to look at it anymore, and then put it in a place where she have to look at it every single day?
She said she didn't want it anymore.
You mean she didn't want to possess it anymore? But
I'm just telling you what she said. When we moved it into my house, she said, I do not want this stuff.
Your Honor.
I
That
have
sounds
witnesses.
like nonsense. Yeah. Do I have any witnesses here?
Yes.
There are a lot of people on either side, but important witnesses. I don't want any nonsense witnesses because it's a busy day.
Can I?
Yeah?
Yes. Chris?
Step up here. State your name.
My name's Chris.
Chris, you have a last name.
Chris Delacroce.
Okay.
I helped him move out the furniture out of Schwartz's house.
Yes.
Okay. It was my understanding that she didn't want it because it reminded her
I don't want to know what
of
your
him.
understanding was. Your understanding is relevant to you. It's not particularly relevant to me. I want to know what you saw and heard.
I saw her furniture move into our house.
And what did you hear her say, if anything? Right here. Nothing.
Nothing right to me. No.
Good. Did you hear her say? Did you hear her say anything to anyone else?
No.
Good. Sit. You have any other important witnesses for me to hear, Steve?
No.
Perfect. Do you have any witnesses you wish to me to hear? Important ones.
Yes, I do. I have Steve's former roommate who lived in the house with him before my furniture was moved in there, while it was moved in there, and after it was destroyed and I took what was remaining of it.
Step up here. State your name, please.
Vanessa Williams.
Miss Williams, did you ever have a conversation with Mr. Jackson about the furniture? Means a yes or a no?
Yes, I did.
When did you have that conversation about the furniture?
The night after it happened.
The night after it was destroyed?
And
No. Was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. And what did he say to you?
He said that he asked me that he said that he felt bad that he did this, and he asked me if he should reimburse her for this. And I told him whatever he wants to do. I didn't really want to get involved at the time.
Were you his girlfriend at the time?
No.
You just was staying there with him?
Platonic roommate.
I rented a room from him.
So he asked you whether he should reimburse her?
Right.
Mr. Jackson, a couple of other questions I have for you. Why don't you sit down, Miss Williams? Thank you. Did you have any of your own stuff in the apartment?
My house?
Yeah, in your house.
Yes, I did.
To destroy your own stuff?
No.
So you had selective rage. Right?
That's correct.
Your selective rage, Mr. Jackson, is going to cost you. Can I have a list of items that
yes, there's
that were
pictures,
destroyed? Thank you.
estimates.
Good.
And Your Honor, I also wanted to state when I filed this complaint, I made it for $5,000, but I didn't exactly total it up. It doesn't quite come up to $5,000, and I put the price difference that I came up with.
Well, what is it?
$3,939.52, I believe.
Is that what all of these things cost you?
Actually, I took estimates only because the places where I bought this furniture either are not in business anymore, so I got the closest estimate to my furniture that I had.
Well, was this almost $4,000 more expensive or less expensive than what you actually paid for the furniture?
That is about the approximate price range of
Not price range. I want to know what you actually paid for the furniture.
To be exact?
Yeah, to be exact.
About
Because I have the bills here.
$3,200, but there is something else included into that I did not buy. That's the garage door that he broke
Well, you didn't have a garage.
Where I was staying the night that he destroyed my furniture.
You mean at Schwartz's house?
Correct.
Let Schwartz sue him. Unless you paid Schwartz for the garage door.
Well, actually, I'm going to have to pay for it.
No, you won't. You don't have to pay for it because he broke it. Let Schwartz sue him. How much was the garage door?
$620.
Okay, so we're down to $3,200. You just bought this furniture, looks like.
Well, it's on hold.
What do you mean it's on hold?
It's an estimate. They wouldn't...
Miss Tracy.
Yes?
How old was the furniture that was there?
Less than 2 years old, and it was brand new. I kept it in perfect condition. That furniture was, I mean, I cherish that. And I took very good care. It was immaculate. It was brand new. There was nothing wrong with anything.
All right, now let me take a look at this furniture, what it looks like. There are 2 sofas. Did you throw both sofas out?
No.
Where's the other one?
There was nothing wrong with the other sofa. She moved it out later on. There's nothing wrong with it.
Your Honor,
Was
he
there anything wrong with
urinated on it. He slashed it up, but he didn't throw it over his balcony because it was too big.
No, that is absolutely not true.
Let's not talk about slashing it. Did you do anything else to it?
No, that is not true. I did not urinate on her couch.
Well, that's
Did you let anybody else do it?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He does not have any ambition in life except to sit on the couch and drink beer and watch the football game.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kathy Tracy is in court with her ex-boyfriend, Steve Jackson, because she claims he destroyed her property in a jealous rage.
Mr. Jackson, you slash up her mattress?
No.
No?
I did not.
It's all slashed.
I didn't slash her mattress. What I did was destroyed the dining room table, the chairs, the lamp, and the couch.
That is not true.
Well, who destroyed this?
I don't know. She's had the furniture ever since July, the middle of July.
Well,
and then 1 month later, she comes in and...
Miss Tracy?
Yes?
When did you get the mattress back?
I got the mattress back when I moved all the furniture. The night was July 17th is when he destroyed all of my furniture at approximately 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right, okay.
I picked up my furniture that day, that afternoon. He let me come and recover the damaged property.
Are you telling me that you took out this damaged mattress?
Yes.
Why did you take out the damaged mattress?
To use it as evidence, because I was obviously going to take him to court over this.
Who helped move out the furniture?
I had 2 movers helping me.
Show this to him, please. Did you... Mr. Jackson, I want you to look at that very carefully, sir.
No, I did not do that. That's not my place. She's had the mattresses ever since the middle of July and not touched that. Now I can turn to the pictures of the couch and the table. Can I look through this?
The couch isn't in there.
I see a picture of a garage door opener.
I'm not interested in the garage door
mattress.
opener. That's
well,
another
I don't
lawsuit.
see how she can justify $3,200.
Just a second. I asked you about the mattress. Did you do that to the mattress?
No, I didn't. I did not touch her mattress.
This keeps getting better.
Who are you?
I'm Danielle Crockett.
How do you know her?
I've been her best friend for about 4 years.
Best friend, did you see the furniture when it came back to her house
No,
after she moved it out? Did you? Who are you?
I'm Nicole Halterman. Not that day. Actually, I had gone to Steve's house that night because I'm friends with his roommate, Vanessa. And I saw the furniture damaged.
Did you see the
house.
mattress?
Not the mattress, but everything else.
She'd already taken the mattress out of the house.
She took the mattress and the couches, but she left the table because it was in too many pieces to take. The patio furniture was in too many pieces to take, and the lamps. I saw those in his backyard. Looked like they had been thrown over the balcony.
Okay, but the mattress she had taken, she didn't take any of the property that was destroyed, is that right?
Well, the table was in, like, toothpicks.
Just answer my question.
Okay.
She didn't take any of the property that was destroyed. She left all the badly damaged property there. Is that what you're saying to me?
She took, like, the VCR and the mattresses, all the other stuff that was destroyed.
Just a second. Did you see her take the mattress out?
No, because I was at work when she
So
did
you
that.
don't know whether the mattress was destroyed or not?
Well, Steve had admitted to me that he had destroyed it.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
That night when I was at his house, he said that he felt really bad that he did it.
Did what?
destroyed the couches, the mattresses, the table.
He said the mattresses?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Well, he mentioned the mattresses, the table, he mentioned everything.
Okay. Good.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Mr. Jackson, when you have a fit of temper, you have to pay. Understand? I assume that that's the comforter. Is that what that's doing
Yes.
here?
Would you like to see
All
it?
right. I just assumed that that's what it
Your
was.
Honor.
Not part of the new decor in the courtroom. When you have a fit of temper, you have to pay. And your story is a lot of who shot John with regard to her giving you the furniture that she gave you because she didn't want to look at it anymore because it had an emotional attachment to Mr. Schwartz. So it's going to cost you. It's not going to cost you in this lawsuit the garage door, because I don't want to hear about that. If you damaged Mr. Schwartz's garage door, he'll take that up with you at some other time. Ms. Tracy, I am awarding you $3,000 to replace the furniture. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your
Parties
Honor.
are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And on the next Judge Judy.
He's an alcoholic. He's mentally and physically abusive. He does not have any ambition in life except to sit on the couch and drink beer and watch the football game. And it wasn't going anywhere. I have ambitions and goals, and we just don't meet. I am glad that I will never have to see him again. Thank you.
Carolanda Hayes for money she took from a bank account set up by her grandmother.
Order, all rise. Judges, number 275 on the calendar in the matter of Hayes versus Hayes. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
I must tell you both that there is nothing sadder for a judge than seeing a family torn apart by money.
I totally agree.
Mr. Hayes, this is your daughter.
That's correct.
And as I understand this complaint, your mother, who is still alive, is that correct?
That's correct.
How old is she?
94.
Where does she live?
She lives with me.
How long has she lived with you?
She's been living with me almost 6 months now.
Where did she live before that?
She lived at 137 Baker Apartment 1.
And she moved in with you, why, sir?
Because she's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Now, you have power of attorney over all your mother's property recently acquired, is that right?
That's correct.
According to your complaint, your mother, during her lifetime, set up different CDs and bank accounts for her children and her grandchildren. You're one of the grandchildren.
Yes.
And according to your complaint, your daughter went to the bank and took out a loan against the CD that was in your mother's name in trust for her.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
And she did so without your knowledge as the person with power of attorney over your mother's affairs. Why did you do that?
I went to the bank under my grandmother's consent. She told me to go get the interest that was on the CD.
When did your grandmother tell you that?
She's always telling me that. Carlonda, to help you and the kids, go get the interest on your CD. Go get the interest on your CD. And I was like, no, because the interest was only $500. I was like, the $500 is not going to help me, Nan. She said, go to the bank and get your interest off your CD.
Okay.
So when I went to the bank...
When? Let her finish, sir.
When I went to the bank, the Great Western representative told me that you could take out a loan against your CD. You don't have to take out the interest. You can just go ahead and take out a loan for 90%.
90% of what was in the account?
Exactly.
And how much was in the account altogether?
Well, the original CD was for $10,000.
Okay. When you say the original CD, had it grown?
There was interest on it from from Bayview Federal, where it was, it grown to, my grandmother had left the interest in there, I guess, a couple of times, and it was $10,900.
It was $10,900 when you took out this loan against it?
No, ma'am. It was only $8,000 by the time I got there to the bank.
It was $8,000. Now, how did the account read? What's your grandmother's name?
Nancy. Nancy Buckner.
Nancy Buckner in trust for?
No, it read Nancy Buckner, Carolina Hayes, power of attorney Charles Hayes. Because by
Can I see the way the account is written, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were told that you could take out a loan.
Right, for 90% of the CD.
Okay. And you did?
I didn't take out 90. I only took out 50.
So you took out $4,000?
Yes.
And you had to pay back the interest?
Exactly.
Did you do that?
No, because they told me that no payment was needed to be made until June, a year later. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to make any payment throughout the year. I could pay $20, $10, or zero until the next year.
Well, Mr. Hayes, this says that this account is in your name, Nancy Edwards, and Carolandra Hayes. That's her.
That's correct.
This isn't an in trust for account.
No, ma'am.
It was in trust until I moved it. It wasn't in Great Western.
I don't care where it was. Listen to me. This has 3 names on this account.
I realize that. Yeah.
That means anybody can do whatever they want with this bit of money.
I have.
You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you're suing her, your daughter.
That's correct.
I'm going to find out why in a second, Mr. Hayes.
Because he's greedy.
For $4,497, which is, I assume, $4,000 that she took out, and the other $400 for some sort of interest. Is that right?
No.
What?
It's for a credit card that she took out in my mother's name in Nordstrom's that she didn't pay.
I don't have that in the...
I have it here, Your Honor.
I don't care what you have there. I don't have it in your complaint, sir.
And I didn't know about this credit card because
you don't have to address the credit card. It's not in his complaint.
Okay.
It's not in his complaint. It's not here, period.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
She took out $4,000, therefore you're suing her for $4,000. She can take out that money if she wants to.
Yeah, I understand that.
So why are you suing her?
I'm suing her because she didn't pay for it. She made no efforts to pay for it. Can I explain to you how this led up to this?
Sure.
She started off from the day that she graduated. My mother bought her a new car to graduate. From there, she went on to college. A couple of years later, she wanted to get married. She came home. My mother and I paid for her wedding. Came a little over $12,000. After her wedding, she moved on. After she moved on, a couple of years later, she wanted a divorce. She got a divorce. She moved on to Atlanta. In Atlanta, she got in a little trouble. She wanted to come home. She borrowed $3,200 to come home. She said she would pay for that.
Borrowed from whom?
From my mother. Then once she got here, she didn't have any money, so she needed a place to stay. So she borrowed another $1,600.
From whom?
From my mother.
When you say Mr. Hayes,
yes.
When you say she borrowed the money, were you there when she spoke to her grandmother?
No.
No, I wasn't there, but by me being power of attorney, my mother explained this to me.
Just a second. When did your daughter take this money from your mother? How long ago?
That's been about 5 years ago.
And when were you appointed power of attorney?
1993.
So this all happened before you were appointed as power of attorney. So let me explain something to you, sir. I assume that you were given power of attorney over your mother's money because you say that she suffers from Alzheimer's. She can't take care of her affairs. Is that right?
Not only that, as that I'm the eldest. And
doesn't make any difference. Eldest. So she gave, with no notes, I assume.
No notes. This was
her granddaughter money.
Correct. That's correct.
Good. That's what grandmothers do with their grandchildren.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He wants all the money. He wants to take everyone's money, and he doesn't want to see us with anything. He wants to remodel his home, buy his Harley Davidson, his boat, and everything else.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Charlie Hayes is suing his daughter, Carolanda, because she took money from a bank account set up by her grandmother. Carolanda says the account was opened for her benefit and the money was rightfully hers.
Go ahead. So tell me some more. So she got into trouble. She came back. It's another $1,600. Go ahead.
Would you tell her quit saying words to me?
I don't want you to speak
hear
to
her.
him.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're speaking to him, I don't want you to speak to him.
I'm not speaking to him.
Good. Go.
Okay, now my mother calls me. She says, I want you to go and give Carolanda the interest off her CD. So instead of making it, just getting the interest off of it, I went and put it into Great Western. It was in Bayview Federal. I put it into Great Western. So then I called her and told her to go down, put your Social Security number on it so that you can get the interest from now on. Therefore, I will put your name on the CD. Her name wasn't on the CD.
That's a lie.
Shh. Hey.
He's not telling the truth.
Well, show me. Show me. Show me that your name was on the CD.
Oh, it was on the
Show
CD.
me. That's what I want to see. Show me.
I'm saying he's lying about the reason why he put my name in the CD.
Show me. Before I went to Great Western, what bank was it in?
Bayview Federal.
Show me Bayview Federal. This doesn't show me anything.
Okay.
Would you tell her also, Your Honor, do not call me a liar?
Shh. Listen. I didn't hear that she called you a liar. If she called you anything, she's not supposed to speak out in court unless I speak to her.
Thank you.
Right now, I'm not speaking to her. I'm not looking at her.
Thank you. So anyway, I went in to take care of some banking business at Great Western, and the bank agents told me that there's no payments been made on this loan, and there's no interest been paid on it, and within the next 6 months, we're phasing out this type of loan because the bank isn't making any money on it. So I said, okay, I'll get in touch with my daughter. I called my daughter, and I asked her, I said, what are you going to do about this? She says, I don't have any money. I'm not going to pay it. Sue me. That's where we are today.
Okay. And your defense is that you didn't have to pay this money back according to the loan agreement by the bank for another few months,
No.
and therefore you were not in default.
Right.
There were a couple. Go ahead.
But he's lying. He did not call me and say that the CD was about to expire and that I better pay the interest on it or whatever. And I don't know what he did, but he closed everyone's CD. No one, all the grandchildren's, my aunts, everyone, every
How much
CD
money
is
does your
gone.
mother have in her estate, Mr. Hayes?
At the time that when she's speaking,
Now, how much money does your mother have in her estate?
she has $40,000,
And this time last year, how much money did your mother have?
close to $80,000.
And the $40,000 was spent how, sir?
It was. She's speaking of the other loan is because her brother took a loan out at the same time, this type of loan.
Against.
And then I had to close both of them because the bank was closing out that type of
Does
loan.
your mother get Social Security, sir?
Yes, she does.
And she gets Medicaid that takes care of her medical expenses?
That's correct.
And she owns an apartment building with 12 units, and each apartment building roughly about $500 on each building.
How many brothers and sisters do you have, sir?
I have one sister.
Okay. So I would assume that with the exception of these CDs that she had for grandchildren, how many grandchildren are there?
There was 5 of us.
That most of your mother's assets, when she passes, are going to go to you and your sister. Is that right?
No.
Yes, that's correct. Sorry.
Talking to him?
No, it goes to me. I am the trustee of the account. All of her assets goes to me.
What about your sister?
My sister gets 25% of the net gross of the building of the money after all bills are paid.
When did your mother make a will?
My mother made a will in 1993, and then she revised it in 1995.
Okay. Right. Now, let me deal with your countersuit, Ms. Hayes.
Yes, ma'am.
You are countersuing your father because you say that he has misappropriated your grandmother's money.
That's correct.
Okay. Nobody made you the monitor of your grandmother's money.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm dismissing your counterclaim. Whether someone is violating their fiduciary relationship, and your father has what we call in the trade a fiduciary relationship with his mother, is something that is going to be dealt with at some point in surrogates court or a court where they handle estates. A judge in the surrogates court will also determine whether his mother, who he has acknowledged suffers from Alzheimer's, was able to revise a will in 1995, had the mental capacity to revise a will, and I would assume that your aunt, who is his sister, as well as whatever grandchildren there are who might have been mentioned in a prior will contest that will once it's filed and make a determination as to whether or not there has been another breach of fiduciary.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You just told me that your mother who's 94 moved in with you because she can't take care of herself because she suffers from Alzheimer's. So stop giving me a lot of baloney.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Charlie Hayes and his daughter Carolanda are in court fighting over money left in a bank account by Carolanda's grandmother. Charlie claims his daughter had no right to withdraw the money.
Let me turn now to this issue before me. What is that, Mr. Hayes?
This is the contract that she signed with the bank.
That's right here.
That she would return the money?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Now, if she did not return this money, all that they were going to do is withdraw it.
That's correct.
From the CD.
That's correct.
Now, according to your papers, sir, this CD was originally in your mother's name and trust for her.
That's correct.
Your name was not on it at all, as your mother had CDs for all the grandchildren.
She tried.
What you did, sir, was add your name, according to this, to each one of the CDs.
Only that one, Your Honor.
Why only this one?
Because I wanted to make sure that she paid it back, and if she went to the bank to get any money, I wanted them to notify me.
Well, but you know, what you've done here, sir, is you have added your name as a partner in this CD. Your mother really had no intention of making you a partner in this CD.
She knew about that.
Don't tell me what she knows. She knows nothing now. She's lucky
That's
for her that she knows. She knew nothing about what you did here, sir, because she had no intention of making you a third partner in this CD.
I took it to her and told her about this, Your Honor.
You just told me that your mother, who's 94, moved in with you because she can't take care of herself because she suffers from Alzheimer's, sir. Stop giving me a lot of baloney.
No, I'm not.
One of the things that I'm saying to you is I'm distressed. I'm distressed because I don't understand why you as a parent, and your daughter has probably cost you a lot of money over the years.
Of
Or it
course.
cost your mother a lot of money. She's probably made some mistakes, and she has been indulged by an indulgent grandmother when she's run into financial difficulty. But what we're talking about is a father suing his daughter for money that really isn't even yours.
I don't want the money.
Well, what I'm asking you, Mr. Hayes, is why bring your daughter to court over this money, which is not, the truth of the matter is she could have taken out more. It wouldn't have been the right thing. But she could have taken out more than 50% of the money. She didn't. And I assume you have a couple of children?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a husband?
No, ma'am.
You work?
Yes.
What do you do?
Import and export.
How much do you earn?
$40,000 a year.
So you earn a reasonable living?
Yes, I do. And rent is outrageous. And 2 kids and child care, and I'm barely
Where are the father of these 2 children? Well, that's a smile. A smile isn't an answer.
One's in Louisiana, the other one, they take care of their children, but I'm just saying that it's difficult to raise 2 kids by yourself.
Okay. Listen, there comes a point when your family's going to stop bailing you out.
I have...
You understand? Your grandmother bailed you out. She gave you money before?
Yes.
She gave you money for $3,000, $1,600 or whatever.
But 2 of them were gifts. I graduated with honors from school.
I'm not suggesting that the $3,000 and the $1,600 weren't gifts by a grandmother. Say, yeah, take the money. If you can pay back, fine. If you can't, fine. Sir, it was your mother's intention that this young lady have this money.
Up on her desk.
That's her intention.
That's correct.
That's her intention.
That's correct. I would like for her to have it up on her desk. I love my daughter. I don't want to.
Who are you?
Your Honor, I'm her mother.
What do you have to add to this?
I have to add that I've also helped her and my son.
I don't need that information. It's irrelevant whether you help them. Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
It's irrelevant that you help them. You're supposed to help them. You're her mother.
Oh, yes. And I will until the day I die.
Sit down.
But that's not just it. I mean, she can contest that my father, he just abuses funds. He just goes
I'm not
through them.
interested in that. Nobody made you your grandmother's money monitor. If you believe that your father is abusing his fiduciary relationship to his mother, go to court and seek to be appointed her guardian because he's abusing it, and then a judge will hear you and we will move on. But you cannot, madam, countersuit for that.
I wouldn't bring my father to court.
So, well, you countersuit, and I dismissed the countersuit because you have no basis for a countersuit unless you are the guardian of your grandmother.
What he's doing is just totally wrong.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Mr. Hayes, under the law,
Yes, sure.
your daughter did exactly what she had a right to do by taking out this loan.
What about
Under the law, she doesn't even have to pay it back because the account is in her name. And if she chooses to, she can let the loan default, and she can let the CD be reduced by the amount of the loan. That is her right because her name is on this account. Do you understand, sir?
That's my call.
Case dismissed.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He has 2 grandchildren who he never calls or never sees or never does anything for. So at least for them, it would be very essential for them to have a grandfather in their life. But he's neglecting all of that and going for the money.
That's not true. I own property. This lady has nothing to do with this court. She's just visiting from Louisiana. She don't
I'm his former
anything.
wife.
Yeah, and that's why she's
I know
former.
him. I know him.
I have other things I have to do with her in court. I will see her in court again. I love her very much.
19-year-old Peter Shelley says his former roommate, video store clerk Joyce Norian, skipped out on paying her rent and phone bills.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Judge number 99 on the calendar in the matter of Shelley versus Norian. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, sir.
You all went to high school together.
Right.
That's correct.
And were friends.
Right.
We're.
Relax. Graduated from high school and you thought it would be a neat idea to have an apartment to live on your own.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you found an apartment,
Yeah.
signed a lease together.
Correct.
1, 2, 3. You're the other roommate.
Yes.
And then you told your parents.
Right.
And they said, forget it.
That's correct.
So you said,
Forget you.
not really.
Yeah.
According to these papers, you said, well, I'll just hang out in the apartment. I won't be able to live there, but I'll sort of use it like a home away from home.
Exactly.
Continue to pay rent? For how long did you pay rent?
For 5 months.
And how long was the lease?
6 months.
So now, Mr. Shelley, you want the other month's rent,
Yep.
which you say you owe.
Correct.
And how much was that?
$235.
She acknowledges she owes you that. But you, sir, want $3,000.
Yep. But I have reasons, though.
What?
I have reasons.
Mr. Shelley, that's why I'm here, sir.
All right.
So that you can try to convince me why she owes you $3,000.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Let's go for it, sir.
I brought a letter from my my boss, my ad manager, saying.
Don't bring me a letter from your boss. You want me to hear your boss? You bring your boss. You tell me why she owes you $3,000.
Well, she has an $835 phone bill that I have a copy of.
Good, that I'll see.
No problem.
Did you show it to her?
Yeah, she's seen it several times. Actually, she
Actually,
even.
you know what? I have paid so many phone bills. There's only one phone bill that I still owe you for, and I admitted it in my statement, which was $375. For the last month, I was not in the apartment, so whichever ones that were there is not my fault. So don't try to blame it on me, Peter.
Okay.
The way it works, Judge, is you get paid phone bills for the month before. She wasn't in the last month, but she was in the previous months. So
what was the month that you last spent in the apartment?
I believe it was April, and that was for the $375.
And she bounced a check previously for $387 that's carried over. That's showed on there as well. And I think Chris will testify to everything that she made every single one of those phone calls.
Oh, I admit I
outside of
made the
California.
phone calls. I made the phone calls to Florida. I have relatives in Miami and elsewhere in the United States, and I admit to it, and I've paid them previously, and the ones that I do admit for them for the $375. But I do not admit for the other ones.
No, it's $835. I think
According
Chris will
to you,
testify
the ones that I've
Just a second. What was your last date in the apartment?
You know, honestly, Judge, I do not remember the exact same date, but I know the month was April.
Beginning, middle, end?
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay. I have calls here to Cleveland. Who is that?
I don't know anybody in Cleveland. I admit to Miami, I admit to New York and New Jersey, but I don't know anybody in Cleveland.
Well, I have North Dade, Florida.
That's correct. I know
April
Florida.
9th. And then after that, I have no calls to Florida, but sorry, Miss Nurian. I just turned over the page. May 1st, 48 minutes.
Damn, sorry.
Not April.
Oh, that's good.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
May 1st, 48 minutes.
You know, you might be correct. I'm not going to argue that.
Judge, I think my witness...
April 30th. You also called the same number in Miami, so you were there in April and May, beginning of May.
The lease, Your Honor, ended in June, and I remember that I was not there for the last part of the month. As far as exact the same date, honestly, I do not remember what it was. What had happened was my parents found out, and boom, like that, I was just out there, out the door.
Okay. Let us say that her phone bill is $800.
Okay.
And she owes you $235 for her rent, which
Okay.
she acknowledges. That's $1,035. Okay, Mr. Shelley. Let's go how we get to $3,000,
Okay.
sir.
I work in a commission-based job. I have to be using the phone. I carry a pager with me. I'm always on call. If I'm at home, I'm always on call. I'm working no matter what, all the time. If I don't have a phone, which I didn't for 2 months, very much handicaps my job. If I can't call clients back, I can't service them. I lose clients, I lose money, I lose a lot of stuff. It's just everything, everything totaled up me off. I think she should pay for it. I take cold showers for 2 months. It sounds
Why did you
lame,
have to
but
take cold showers for 2 months?
because she didn't pay her gas bill. And everything totaled together, I think she should pay for what she did.
Your Honor, and in the previous matters, I've paid for everything on time, as everything was supposed to be paid of.
Why didn't you pay your last month's rent?
Okay, let me explain to you, Your Honor. My parents had found out, and my bank account, everything was with my parents' name. They had everything, a hold of it. They closed everything for me, and I wasn't working, so everything was gone from me, from getting about $4,000 a month from my parents to $0 a month. I was looking for a job, I was struggling, trying to find stuff. I know people are going to say, you're spoiled, yeah, you got $4,000, oh, poor thing, she's not going to get anything now. Yeah, but you know what, I'm trying to do it on myself, give me some time, I'll do it. And I've talked to him previously, and I told him, let me get myself back on my feet, and I'll pay you back. He's borrowed money from me before. You didn't see me hauling your ass. Peter, pay me.
Did I pay you back?
You did, but you didn't see me hauling your ass.
Did it take me 2 months to pay you back?
You were like 2 weeks late, but I didn't say anything to you, Peter. I didn't say anything to you, Peter.
The thing that made me the angriest, Judge, is that she said she would pay me, and she said she'd pay me several times. I wrote checks because she was going to pay me the next day. She's all, I'll pay you tomorrow, $235, no problem. And I'm all, yeah, okay, great. I'll write a check for the rent. I'd wrote 2 checks, bounced 2 checks. It ruined my credit.
Your Honor, I stepped to the apartment one time when I owed the money $235, and I left it in the apartment in an envelope, and I wrote on it, Peter. I call him, and he tells me, I didn't find it. Okay, and I was still trying to be a nice guy, and I said, okay, maybe, you know what, it got lost because it was an envelope. It got thrown away. It's a house full of men. You never know. It can be thrown away. I was still trying to be the nice guy and pay him back. Oh, go ahead and laugh, Peter.
Listen.
Judge, she left it in not an envelope. She left it in a piece of notebook paper folded up on a cluttered
How would you know if you never saw it?
You told me, you stupid... God.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They don't have phones in San Diego.
Yes, I did.
Phone and go, yo, I'll pay you later, Peter.
Yo, shut the hell up, Peter.
Shut the hell up.
You shut up.
And later today,
Did you have acupuncture on your cat?
She also took the cat to the pet psychic.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Peter Shelley is suing his former friend and roommate, Joyce Norian, for not paying her rent and phone bill. Joyce agrees she owes some money, but claims it's nowhere near $3,000.
Listen to me, sir. You're 19?
Yeah.
You're at the beginning of your career.
Uh-huh.
We're not talking about heavy-duty problems, sir, that require this kind of anger. You understand? Sometimes you get involved in living situations and it doesn't work out. That doesn't mean you're compensated for everything from lost beepers to cold showers.
Not lost beepers, lost clients, which is...
Well, that's very hard for a court to calculate, sir, how much business you actually lost as a result of your phone being turned off. And there were probably other ways that you could have dealt with it. You have a job, sir?
I was working at a warehouse previously when I was involved.
Why didn't you get a telephone?
Because I don't use a telephone very often.
Come on, give me a break. That's a dumb answer.
Chris never moved in. He never lived there. He paid rent just like her.
Just a second. So what you're telling me, you had this apartment all by yourself?
Yeah.
That's some deal. You had an apartment all by yourself. There must have been a nice apartment. Two people who weren't really living there, but coming by occasionally. I mean, that's not a bad deal,
Yeah,
right?
no, I agree
It's
with
not
you.
a bad
That's a good deal. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't end up paying for her
she's going to
last
pay.
rent.
She's going to pay you what she owes you, sir. She's not going to pay you for your inconvenience.
And I've admitted to that in my statement, Your Honor. I was being honest about it. Yes, I do owe him this certain amount of money.
I think that you owe him a little bit more for the phone bill that you acknowledge, and I am awarding him a total of $1,035 for both your rent and the phone bill. That's all.
Thank you.
Excuse me, step out. I've got to go to your right.
They disconnected from me. I didn't have time to pay for it.
Couldn't you call me and say,
You know,
hey,
I was
I'm
in
gonna pay
San
you?
Diego all the time. I didn't have any connections to come down.
They don't have phones in San Diego.
Yes,
You can't
I
pick
do.
up a phone and go,
Listen to my last
yo,
statement,
I'll
did
pay you later, Peter.
Yo, shut the hell up, Peter.
Shut the hell up.
You shut up.
And now the next case.
Party's on Mizell versus Hall. Step forward, please.
38-year-old teacher Vicki Mizell is suing her neighbors, Tracy and Randy Hall, because their 5-year-old daughter, Brooklyn, broke her cat's leg by stepping on it.
I assume that that is the cat in question.
This is the cat in question.
And I assume that that is the child in question.
That's the child.
All right, Miss Mizell, you claim that this little girl stepped on your cat, caused the cat some injuries. Your vet bills were $2,000. You want them to pay, right?
Yes.
What was your cat doing in their house? That's where this happened, is that right?
The cat was staying with them while I was out of town, but the cat had been at their house many times over a couple of month period because the cat made friends with their children. And they were from Idaho and they were staying in LA for for 6 months. And so they missed their animals back home. So the cat would go over sometimes for play dates, sometimes would spend the night, had stayed with them at another time when I was out of town, and so...
Let me understand this. You asked them to do you a favor and let the cat stay at their house while you went out of town?
Yes.
And they have kids?
Yes.
3 of them.
How old are your children?
At the time, they're 3, 5, and 10.
Tell me your name.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Spell it for me.
Brooklynn.
All right.
All right, Brooklyn. That's where I was born.
Oh, honey.
Me too.
Would you like to come up and talk to me? Oh, come on up here.
Watch your step. There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
That's a really pretty name.
Thanks.
Do you know what happened to that cat that made it limp?
When I just got up out of bed, I walked down the hallway and then I didn't realize the cat was there, and then I stepped on it. Then it was limping.
Okay, was that an accident? Do you like the cat? I figured you liked the cat. You play with the cat?
Yeah.
Do you have any other animals home?
Yeah, we raised some cows and a baby kitten.
Okay, are you very careful with the cat and the kitten? Okay. Why don't you go back and stand there next to your mom and dad?
I'd like to also point out that the cat, you know, obviously it's fairly old, but it also had some hearing problems.
Whatever. It was an accident in the house. Miss Mizell, now according to what I've read here, you don't have this cat very long, is that right?
The cat was a stray, and she was found a year ago, and some other people found her. And
So you've had the cat for about a year?
A year now.
Okay, and how old is the cat? Do you have any idea?
We think about 15 or 16 years old.
Okay.
And there was, at the time when we found out that her foot was broken, Mr. Halls, and we all went to the vet together. The vet explained what would have to happen, and he said to me, he said, we'll pay for half the surgery, let me talk to my wife.
Your claim against these people is $2,000.
Now.
Because that's what you've spent in vet bills.
Yes, plus,
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's say, Ms. Mizell, that the vet bills to take care of the cat were $10,000. Would you have paid $10,000?
I don't know. I don't have $10,000, and I don't know.
Would you have paid $5,000?
Yes.
But you don't know if you would have paid 10.
I haven't been working. I was injured. 10's a lot.
How about 20?
20,000? Mm-hmm. I would have found her a home. I would not have had her put to sleep.
But you wouldn't have paid the 20.
You know, I mean, you're asking stuff
I'm asking
that's
you these
arbitrary.
questions. I'm asking these questions for a reason.
If I had $100,000, I would have paid 20.
Yes, but you don't.
Right.
So that you yourself put a limit on how much you would spend to take care of the cat.
Well, it's actually not over yet.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It's a bad break. It's an old cat. You know, the older you get, the more brittle your bones get. That's what they tell me, at least.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Vicki Mizell thinks her neighbors, Tracy and Randy Hall, should pay her vet bills because their 5-year-old daughter broke her cat's leg. The Halls feel the cat should be put to sleep.
You are not suggesting that this child purposely hurt your cat. You are not suggesting that, are you?
I'm not, and in the records it says it was accidental.
Fine, so this child accidentally stepped on your cat.
I think it's a bad break, so, you know.
It's a bad break. It's an old cat. You know, the older you get, the more brittle your bones get. That's what they tell me, at least. And what you can withstand when you're 16, you can't withstand when you're 56. So I'm certain that this little girl, when she was walking down the hallway and stepped on the cat was just lying there. She didn't mean to hurt her. Now, you were prepared to spend any amount of money to take care of your cat. These people originally offered, according to these papers, I think $400. Is that right?
Right. When I was at the...
I think that was very. I think that really that was very nice of them.
They never did. They said they did, and then they didn't. What?
In your written letter, it says here that we offered you the money.
I said you did offer, and then you reneged on it.
Because it went up $500 every day.
Let me hear. Talk to me. Don't talk to her.
Part of her bill was like $350 for acupuncture.
And then,
I mean,
do you have acupuncture on your cat?
Yeah, but this is being exaggerated.
No,
I have
did you
it right here.
Did you have acupuncture on your cat?
Yes, there was acupuncture on the cat, and it was not $350.
I have it.
Shh.
It's
Let me see it.
she also took the cat to the pet psychic, and that's how she found out that the cat belonged to another family.
Well, that's not part of your bill.
No.
Pet psychic.
No, I don't think it is.
Acupuncture. I guess it's
Your Honor,
$336.
they offered to pay, and when the doctor needed the money, I didn't have the money, so I went to them to get what they'd offered, and Mr. Hall said, let me transfer the funds in the morning. Call me in the morning, I'll transfer the funds. The next day, it was a different ball game.
That's not true.
It is true.
Just a second. So what you're saying is you offered to give her $400.
Right.
And you're prepared to do that?
Right.
They never
Just a second.
Okay.
Just answer my question. You're prepared to do that?
Yes.
I think that that's very generous of you, sir. And this, madam, by the way, does say that you took the cat for acupuncture. It was $42 per treatment for $336. That's what this says.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You're the cat's owner, but you said I couldn't spend $10,000 because I didn't have it. So there would come a point where you would say, I can't spend anymore. These people have offered initially.
But here's what you're missing. Excuse me.
It doesn't make any difference.
They offered, then they reneged. They never came through. They weren't nice. They weren't helpful. They weren't supportive. They didn't say they were sorry. None of this happened.
Well, Ms. Mizell, what do you want? You want them to pay all of the medical bills.
Well, now, I mean, what I've been through with this has been horrendous.
All right, Ms. Mizell, if you want somebody to watch your cat and if you want them to be responsible for what happens to the cat, I suggest you leave your cat in the future in the hands of a professional. Then the professional is responsible for whatever happens to your cat while your cat is in their care. That is somebody that boards animals. If you elect to leave your cat with a family that has young children and the cat is accidentally injured, then you cannot expect the parents of a 5-year-old child who there is no evidence maliciously caused any injury to your cat to be responsible. This case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm disappointed that after, the cat was fun with their family, that this is the attitude that it's been.
Vicky
and
was
even
also,
now,
Vicky was
after
asked
them
not to bring
winning,
the cat over ever again.
After they're winning,
Prior to this.
they're still not even concerned.
I'm
They're
not.
still on this attitude. And that's what I think is just despicable.